motion and a fake, and he's hit as he throws, and it's intercepted. Jaron McClain had it fall right in his hands. It was Braden Utley who delivered the hit on Sanders, who's thrown his third pick of the day.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Clean pocket for Zappe in the end zone. Caught, touchdown, Mitchell Tinsley.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Big to Elliott. Back of the end zone. It is Schultz for the touchdown.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
The redshirt freshman quarterback has his team up 7-3 and threatening again. Throws for an open receiver. Touchdown. Drew Estrada. Wide open.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Well, good afternoon on this. It is an absolutely perfect day in greater central Texas, and I'm sure around most of Texas. I looked at a national map, and I saw a little bit of that kind of what looks like could be some sort of winter storm up north, where normally that's where they have winter storms, although we've had ours here as well. All right, before we get to too much more, Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. Jack is off this week. Hayden, of course, graduated. We may not see him for a while. And then Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak. I'm David Smoak. Thank you for watching and listening to Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports on the set. Armstrong, can you see that with the banner there? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. These are homemade cookies that were sent by Mike George, who's a huge Baylor donor, booster, loves the show. He has one of the largest humanly possible flat screens you could think of inside someone's home. And he watches us and listens to us. He understands what we do as a business. And thank you, Mike George. It's a travel here. He sent these, and we got them last night. They were sitting on top of where the mailbox area is this morning. But look at this one here. This is the size of my hand. It's unbelievable. I had some of the chocolate chip, and they were really, really good. We're going to spread those around. Thank you, Mike George from Dayton, Texas. He's the one that made those for the coaches when they had the Houston Touchdown Club meeting a couple of weeks ago and gave those to the coaching staff.
Yeah, those look great, and appreciate it, Mike. Thanks a lot for you being a part of the show, and guess we'll keep talking now because you're busy. So, yeah, thanks for the cookies, and being a Baylor fan, I'll remind everybody out there who is a Baylor fan that we have a couple of days, actually I guess about 4 days before Christmas, 3.5 give or take. If you want a last-minute gift or a stocking stuffer, you can sign up for the Sikkim 365 Premium section and use the code that's on my timeline right now at Craig Smoak. There's a tweet sitting there from yesterday. I think it's like BF 2021 or something like that, but you have to sign into the link that's on the tweet. It's like 2 tweets down because I don't tweet a lot, so it's still there from yesterday right near the top. But follow that link, use that code, and you can sign up for $35 annually, which is a heck of a bargain as opposed to the normal price. So I just want to throw that out there one more time before we head out after today. But get that done before Christmas, and that's a last-minute gift that would be great for any Baylor fan.
Stocking stuffer, email, e-card, whatever you want, print it out, hand it to them, whatever you want. But, again, that's an incredible deal. And just think about what you could have learned a little bit insight this year alone with all that's going on with college football, with Baylor athletics. Dave Aranda is named as one of the Dodd Trophy finalists. He, of course, was up for the Eddie Robinson Award that went to Luke Fickell of Cincinnati. He's up for the award. Dave Clawson, Wake Forest, Jim Harbaugh, Pat Narduzzi from Pittsburgh, Luke Fickell from Cincinnati also are on this list. The Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Foundation along with the Peach Bowl. And so he's on that. That's not a surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think this is a year for him to win many awards, though, unfortunately. I think because of Luke Fickell primarily. But also, it's hard to argue against Harbaugh and Michigan. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Harbaugh and Michigan deserve a lot of credit for what they did. Obviously, Clawson did a great job with Wake Forest. And, shooting Narduzzi and Pitt, what a story they were. So, yeah, and then, obviously as well, who did I not mention there? I guess I mentioned everybody. But, yeah, that's a good group of guys, and kind of hard to argue that Aranda should deserve it above those guys, especially Fickell when you get a team like Cincy into the playoff. But he had a hell of a year. He's locked down. If people were premium members who are Baylor fans, then you'd have known a lot more about the Dave Aranda stuff that maybe we couldn't say on here that you could say on the message boards and what all was going on behind the scenes. That's just one example, along with the same type of thing with recruiting and all that. But, yeah, it's good to see him, being acknowledged for a lot of these awards. He's not taking them home, but he's up for a lot of them.
Yeah, he is. Terrell Bernard is among the Comeback Player of the Year finalists. He finished as honorable mention for the award. Along with West Virginia's Taj Alston, who we have a lot of West Virginia fans, among some others as well. And what a year he had. And he really got better as the year got longer, as it went in deeper. He, of course, was phenomenal in a lot of their biggest games. In Terrell Bernard, after last year getting injured in that loss up in Ames, Iowa, when the season, of course, was very difficult to deal with.
Shouldn't you get bonus points if you had to come back from an injury in their comeback year like he did? He wasn't hurt that long, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know everybody else's story on there, but man, talk about a comeback. To suffer the injury that he did and to come back this year. Then I remember there was a game early on where he got hurt and was slow to get up, and I was like, oh my God, what a nightmare scenario. Unfortunately, he was okay. I forget what game that was, though. It was pretty early on in the season, and he was thankfully okay, and yeah, he had a great year, and he's the one that's celebrating right away as Jalen Petrie makes that play. When you look at the official making the call, there's Terrell Bernard, number 2, with the big celebration right there. So that'll live in Baylor history for forever. But, yeah, what a player. What a stud.
Earlier today, TexAgs reporting that A&M's football operations bowl prep shut down since Saturday due to a COVID outbreak within the program, mainly consisting of the vaccinated athletes. Team has been meeting via Zoom since Saturday. Multiple positions have been hit particularly hard, so as they prepare for their bowl game coming up. Also, speaking of which, Kenyon Green, a hell of a player, offensive lineman, from Texas A&M is going to enter the NFL draft and could be a first-round pick a part of that A&M team that finished 8-4 in the regular season.
They've got 4 guys that could sneak into the first round. I don't think Isaiah Spiller will, just because he's a running back as good as he is. He'll probably be somewhere in the second round. Not Jay Sternberger, that's the last one. Jalen Weidermeyer could sneak into the first round as talented as he is at tight end. But I do think Kenyon Green, and I think for sure DeMarvin Leal might sneak into the top 10.
I like him. I voted for him on the All-American team this year without question, and he earned that. And Kenyon Green, I believe, I'm not sure. I do have my list of who I voted for. So that's that as well. Now, women's basketball. Baylor women were supposed to play Houston Baptist coming up on Wednesday, tomorrow night. But the game has been canceled because of 19 protocols within the Houston Baptist women's basketball program. So that game has been at least canceled, and they look for a replacement. Although we're getting late in the day on the well, that's not till next week. That's not till next week, the 29th, and they'll probably find somebody to replace them with. I got a question for you guys. Did either one of you watch any of we mainly, of course, are around college athletics and football, basketball, whatever, but we'll have Major Bowden of China Spring, the All-State Championship quarterback, will join us today at 4:20, and his thoughts about Brian Bell leaving for Baylor. Did any one of you watch any of the Bears and Vikings game?
Yeah, I watched half of it.
I watched a good chunk of it. Wow. Yeah.
There's a couple of games tonight, by the way. In fact, Jennifer texting Craig and I earlier today saying, why are they playing at the same time? There's 2 games, the Eagles, Washington, and I think Rams and Seattle both playing at 6 o'clock.
By the way, Garrett Gilbert, who we talked about at length yesterday, starting for Washington.
He's like, again, he's a guy that's been around for a long, long time, won some rings. I don't want to get off my lawn. And yet again, I probably am more often than not. But the way the NFL is now is hard for me to watch. I know some crews throw more flags, call more penalties than others. I get that, just like in the NBA or in college basketball. But the taunting rule, the unsportsmanlike penalty of just anybody even shoving somebody, it's killing to me. Not the game. I'm only speaking for myself. It's killing what I want to watch or what I'm used to watching. I'm not saying go back and rip somebody's face mask off and hit them over the head with it. I just don't. I can't watch an NFL game, even the good ones, without penalties on every other play, and penalties that to me are just so damn ticky-tacky.
I don't know what the benefit of making taunting the focus this year was for them, because it's for one, slowed down games because you're now adding more penalties, which means games get a little bit slower, which the whole goal of the NFL has been to speed up games so that it's better for television, that you don't have too much overlap. You can watch a game, watch the new game, watch the 3 o'clock game, and move on.
And they moved it back to 3:25 because it was going so long, right?
So I don't know what that was, and I do think that they have with replay, you have this kind of get out of jail free card sometimes, but also I think it's a crutch, and I think that they've given too many rules. They over officiate the game.
It's funny you say that you have a problem watching the game when we watch the Big 12 on a weekly basis, and they're hour-long reviews.
And it's hard to watch them, too.
They're hour-long reviews for a first quarter, second down and 3 run at their own 20. That's worth 7 minutes of review time because that play is going to matter in the long run. Big 12 is notorious for just pointless-ass reviews. So I think just in general, officials are way too much a part of the games. I don't like the taunting rule in the NFL. I don't like all of the stops for reviews in college football. I just think officials in both games need to just get the hell out of the way. Nobody is watching for them. Nobody is watching for the officials. They have a thankless job. I understand that. Anytime we talk about officials, some officials out there listening and is like immediately defensive. And I get why, because they, you don't ever hear like, hey, these officials are great. You only ever hear it bad. So I understand that. But I don't watch for them. And I don't know anybody that's ever watched a game for the officiating. And yet I feel like I watch officials more than I watch players sometimes on my television set. And yeah, the taunting rule's bogus. I don't know. It's kind of part of the deal now that, we can complain about it, but it's not going away. It's like a lot of other things. It's not going to change. But, yeah, it's definitely, interrupted some of the streamlining of the game. And chopped it up and made it a little bit harder to watch for sure.
It's like, for example, and again, Chicago and their coach Nagy, he lost his composure a little bit. But I got to tell you something. I know I would have. You guys know me. I mean, I would like to have been ejected. I was so pissed off. And I don't care if the Bears win or the Vikings win. But there was a call on a tight end, on a connection to the head. The game is so fast. I know what they're trying to do, save themselves a bunch of money because of lawsuits. I get it, and the safety of the game. But
mostly
it's gotten
lawsuits,
to the point,
though.
the
Mostly
ticky-tacky,
lawsuits.
hands to the face.
Well, and
Illegal contact 5 yards down the field. It should be a 5-yard penalty. It should not be an automatic first down, even though I know that might shove somebody off the route. It's just getting ridiculous.
well, I also think that the Bears, just going back historically this year, they lost a game because of a really, really stupid penalty that was called on an unsportsmanlike. They got a sack, and then it was on a Monday night game, right? Monday night or Thursday night, and their defensive end bumped into the official who was walking back into him and called unsportsmanlike conduct for making contact with the official when he was the one who made contact with a player. And so there are they have and I do think it's weird. They have a solution to this in the NFL because they have so much camera technology, is the sky judge, and they keep shooting it down of just having the eye in the sky there at the stadium and having an official, a good, one who would be on a crew and not an old retired guy, be like, no, pick it up. It wasn't holding or whatever. Just wave it off and move on.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. And I already don't want to talk about officiating much longer.
No,
but,
I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, because it's such a tired head topic. But I mean, that's the thing that bothers me more than anything. Is just the wasted time on just pointless stuff that happens in the Big 12 a lot. But yeah, why can we do it at home and they can't do it there with all of their technology? Why can I sit at home on my couch and know within 10 seconds of okay, that was a bad call? I don't need to see it 4 more times. I don't. I saw it twice, and I know what I saw. But these guys will look at the same replays and then just keep looking at them like it's going to change suddenly. I know you got to get it right, but at some point you're confusing yourself. I mean, it's pretty simple. You can see it twice and go, boom, okay, there's that, and it's done, and let's move on. But no, you got to watch it 5 more times, even though it's the same thing you just saw. I don't know. It's a little maddening for the game, but
too many automatic first downs, and you get very little where an offense loses down unless it's an illegal forward pass or beyond the line of scrimmage or an intentional grounding. Most of them.
I also think they need to go back to 15-yard penalty for pass interference in the NFL. The spot field, the Raiders' best play in 2 different games has been picking on a defensive back who officials have targeted.
And I understand that if you tackle a guy 50 yards down the field who's wide open or he's going to catch a touchdown, I understand that, at the spot, because there would have been maybe that plus another 20 yards for a touchdown. It's the speed of the game. David Smoak, who just said this, I'm an old man. Get off my lawn, as David said. You need to get younger officials who can keep up with the speed of the game. Same goes for the college game. Here's a question from Ryan Simmons. Mac Rhodes will join us today at 5 o'clock today. He goes, you guys, I saw the numbers that the attendance or the capacity of the new Pavilion is around 7,000. The Farrell Center is over 10,000. It could be like 10,500. But how often, Paul, what's been the average pretty much attendance, even though men's basketball just won the national title, is an uptick for attendance, and there should be. But isn't that been about 7,000 or so?
About 7,000. About what the new stadium's going to be. I mean, they didn't come to that number by, throwing stuff up the wall and seeing with sticks. They looked at the average attendance for everything that they have and said, okay, what are we likely to sell out with? How are we going to sell the most tickets? And that, therefore, or value the tickets and then not have empty seats. 7,500. Great.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people when the announcement came out about the arena, and I think Fox Sports or somebody tweeted it out, and that led to a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't know, obviously learning. And the most debated thing in the responses was the attendance number. And I think it was pretty easy to spot who doesn't know anything about Baylor athletics by seeing anybody who said, that's stupid. Why would you not? I saw one guy actually say, I bet they could hold 20,000. And I'm like, wow, you are a troll or just shouldn't be allowed to have Twitter because you clearly don't know what you're talking about. But there were a lot of people poking fun. Saw a lot of Tech fans because they have big support out in Lubbock or whatever. They're also a much larger school, so I think people showed a lot of ignorance in some ways when they were like balking at the size of it. The size of it makes perfect sense. The size of it means it's going to be a hard to come by ticket. That's the point. It's not to have so many seats that everybody can get a seat. It's to have just a number of seats to where every seat's filled. That's the goal. It's not to have. All the time. Yes, that's the goal. So anybody poo-pooing on the size of it is just a troll or is an idiot that doesn't know what they're talking about because, yes, you would want it to have it 10,000 seats, but that would be 2,500 empty seats. If you want to make fun of they can't fill 10,000, it's a small town. It's not Austin. It's not, and it's not as diehard as, like, let's say Lubbock or Ames for basketball. It's just not.
They had 10,284 for Villanova. They're the defending national champions against another team that had won 2 of the last 5. And I get that. That was the rarity. That's the exception.
Well, but it took years to build that up, and it's going to take years to build up getting attendance because it's not like they've been doing this all along. Like, they just won the national title last year. I don't think you've really seen the ramifications from that just yet.
Yep.
And you will see that over the coming years. But I think by making it a smaller arena, which Mac Rhodes has explained like 100 times on this show for why they did that, it makes more sense than going bigger. People see big, and they're like, oh, you got to be big. You got to have 20,000? No, that would be stupid because that's the whole point of why they're redoing it to begin with.
Well, and I think a lot of people think, well, Waco's growing, so it's got to be bigger. Well, no. The other thing is Waco's growing, but it's not necessarily Baylor people.
Right.
Look, the 4 people in this room, one of them is a Baylor alumni, and we're all 4 Waco transplants. We're not natives. Right now, all 4 of us have come here from somewhere else. So the people who are coming here now may have no connection to Baylor. They just may, work at one of the new places that's being built here. So would they immediately go to Baylor games? And we hope they're sports fans. Shoot, yeah. But again, you can't factor that in.
All across the country. And listen, if it was 15,000, they could fill it all the time. They would build it for 15,000. But pretty much around the country. UT is a big, huge school. 40-some thousand. Huge city. They even downsized theirs a little bit from what was Frank Irwin Center. And if you'd been to some of the games at the Frank Irwin Center, you saw it look like a bomb would go off and nobody would get hurt at times. Yes, I know there's a surge, Chris Beard and this team again with the hype, and I get that there's been other years you've had Kevin Durant. College basketball, in general, attendance is down and has been on a trend for about the last 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, it has. By the way, they're doing a whole little, press conference for the Foster Pavilion, which, again, we got to start calling
Mac Rhodes, that's why he's going to be on at 5.
But, yeah, some are downsizing. I saw somebody say, well, yeah, okay, well, it makes sense for games, but why would you not, if you're going to do concerts as well, why would you not have it bigger? And it's like, again, I don't think you understand the area that you're talking about, so don't talk about it because you don't know what you're talking about. But I wanted to mention on this, the Foster Pavilion will be 7,500 people. That's official now. 7,500 capacity for all programs, and it's going to sit right behind Robinson Tower on the riverfront. Baylor's going to purchase parts of the land. Waco will acquire the other part of the land, and the Waco property will be used for condos, restaurants, hotels, and more. So that's just from the city press conference.
All right, let me also tell you something about concerts in this town. This is a sad fact about Waco, Texas. The people from this city have no idea how to sell at a concert. They have no idea how to get people to book and come back. They don't understand that because their whole lives, they've been able to know who was. It was Garth Brooks, it was George Strait, it was Willie Nelson, it was the friggin' Rolling Stones coming here. They could walk up to the gate the day of the concert in 1985 and go, I would like a ticket, please, on the 12th row. And somebody would hand them a ticket, and that was it. But promoters make money on pre-sale tickets, which are why pre-sale tickets are cheaper, and people in this town have not figured it out. It's just beyond them, and it just sails right above their heads. I have no idea. I hope it changes so we'll get better concerts, and I don't have to drive 90 miles to go see Jimmy Buffett.
I am going to say this. You've been here longer. Armstrong was a student here. Craig's been here since 13. I was here in 2010. A lot of times we do get into the attendance. We talk about some of the games. You know what? Baylor fans have grown up a lot, though. There have been some times when you wonder. There are games when you wonder. You wonder about sometimes the kick times, or if it's too hot or the sun or whatever. But you know what? It has come a hell of a long way. But it is still a small school. Oregon has 23,000 enrollment, right? Back in early December, they hosted Stanford, a Pac-12 team. They had 7,000 or 4,000 students. or 4,000 people. Their attendance against Baylor this past week was down, but the students were out of school. Students are out of school a lot of times, a lot of places as well. But our bottom line is it's a different culture at times, and you have to learn that along the way. But I'm excited. 7,500 for the Foster Pavilion. Mack Rhodes today, who is at that meeting, will join us today at 5 o'clock to discuss today, plus some other things as well.
I think it's smart. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I think going any bigger, I mean, you could argue for maybe, we should have done 8,000, but I think anybody talking like 10,000 or no, I don't think you know what you're talking about. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to obviously be just more construction going on in this town, which it's hard to imagine there could be any more than there already is. But they're breaking ground on the Welcome Center now, and they've broken ground on 35 for now the last few years and all that. But when they break ground on that pavilion, that'll be something interesting, and also the football facility as well. Looking forward to both of those, in the future.
All right, Bailey Zappe, Western Kentucky's record-breaking yards, passing, and touchdowns, will join us today at 4 o'clock. Western Kentucky has retweeted that, put us up, promoted it for their fan base as well. This young man has been a rock star since he transferred to Western Kentucky from Houston Baptist. We'll have him at 4. Major Bowden on many things. Won state championship, up for Mr. Texas football. And how was yesterday's meeting when Brian Bell informed the program he was leaving for Baylor? That plus Mack Rhodes and more. CJ Moore, in fact, from The Athletic on Baylor and men's basketball, will join us at 3:30 next. Sick of 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, got a lot of great deals going on now. Richard Carr, and of course there's been supply chain challenge issues, but they are taking care of that as there are a lot of cars and trucks that are on the way right now. So now's a good time to get your name on the inbound vehicle list over at Richard Carr so they can get you ready to get in as soon as possible to a brand new vehicle. And they're ready to do that. There are cars and trucks that are arriving daily despite the supply chain challenges. So, again, get your name on that inbound vehicle list to get yours as soon as they arrive. If you need a pickup, get the best. How about a Sierra? It's got it all, power for a work site or luxury interior and drive for a night in the town. Richard Carr also has more SUVs than any other dealer. 11 SUV models to choose from with dozens of trim options. Richard Carr's a one-stop shop to find the perfect SUV for your needs, whether it's the fun and nimble Buick Encore or the sophistication and luxury of an Escalade. If you need a car or truck at an affordable price today, you don't want to wait on new. They've got a bunch of premium pre-owned cars and trucks. All of them go through a 172-point inspection before hitting the lot. Their aggressive lenders are ready to get you in a car today, and 100% credit approval is always the goal, so go online or come by for a test drive. Richard Carr, for those in the Waco area, is your local hometown dealership. Give them a chance to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes on new cars and trucks, and superior service after the sale. Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, owned, operated, and run by loyal and proud Baylor Bears, and they look forward to seeing their friends at the dealership or in the stands.
American Bank has been serving Waco since 1952, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Over the past few years, we've been busy investing in new technology to give you the best banking experience possible. We've also expanded our downtown branch and built 2 state-of-the-art buildings at our Woodway and Bellmead locations. With bright open lobbies plus fast, personal, interactive teller machines, everyone in Waco is now just minutes away from face-to-face banking. Visit us today and see how we're invested in serving you at American Bank. Member FDIC.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit Marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log in to BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICK'em125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'em200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'em125 and SICK'em200.
Welcome back to Sick'em 365 Radio. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, search 365 Sports on YouTube.
Baylor men's basketball remains unbeaten. Took care of business as you expected against Alcorn State. They've got some schedule coming up that will be very much of a test with Iowa State January 1st. And of course, the Big 12 will be, you would think, a battering ram. CJ Moore, theathletic.com, joined us quite a bit last year. Had some great stories about Baylor men's basketball and, of course, college basketball in general. CJ, are you surprised that Baylor is undefeated at this point?
I don't think surprised would be the word. Impressed. But, it's not like they played a really tough schedule, but the Michigan State and Villanova wins obviously were impressive and stand out. And then, the rest of the games, like they should win those. So, if you'd ask me preseason where they'd be, I'd say probably 10-1, 11-0, somewhere in that range. So, I think in a way they have lived up to expectations, but surpassed them in the way that they beat down Villanova and how dominant they've been in some of these games.
Well, the defense certainly moved from last year to this year, and that stayed. But for the first time in a while, CJ, they've gotten contributions and big time from true freshmen and Jeremy Sohan and Kendall Brown. Does that surprise you at all that those guys have been such playmakers so early on in their college career?
I'll say no, only because the coaching staff, talking to them in the offseason, I know we're really, really excited about those two dudes and felt like this team could be one that was going to be really, really, really good. I don't know if they thought they'd be as good as they are early, but I got the impression that they thought by, January, February, they'd be really getting into gear, which for Baylor fans, that's got to be exciting to hear when the coaches probably thought, maybe it'll take a little bit of time. I think it's happened a little earlier than expected, but, offensively, maybe they've still got another step they can take, because defensively, I don't know if they can be much better than they've already been.
So, CJ, you're not surprised by their record at this point. Are you surprised by Iowa State being a top 10 team in the country right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone saw that. I just to give you an idea, in my preseason Big 12 rankings, I went back and forth whether to put Iowa State 9th or whether to put K-State 9th, and I ended up putting Iowa State 9th, which looks kind of dumb now. I'm working on. I'm gonna re-put those out. I could do a redo here in about a week. But TJ Ossenberger's done an awesome job, and that team's definitely way better than I thought. And I got a chance to kind of study them on tape recently, and they're playing defense a lot like Baylor. They've adopted the no middle stuff, which was fascinating to me because TJ hasn't done it in the past.
What are your thoughts? Gonzaga, of course, with a lot back, and they have the super freshmen coming in, and people are going to lose. I mean, everybody's good. Eventually, Baylor and Iowa State will lose. They're going to play each other, so there's that, and there's going to be maybe some others along the way. It's hard with the way the Big 12 is, or really in the way the conference or basketball, college basketball is. What has been their deal? And they've played a really, really hard schedule as well. Have they kind of been a little bit more susceptible than you thought?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think that, like you said, it's hard to just replace top of the line players and bring in new guys and expect the train to keep on rolling. So, I think that their biggest thing is like they don't shoot it as well as they did a year ago, and like last season, their offense was so beautiful to watch and so dominant. And they could beat you with cutting. They could beat you with three-point shooting. They could beat you with ball screens. They could beat you with post-ups. This year, they're still really good. They're still elite offense, but they don't quite have the shooting that they had a year ago. And I think that's showing up in some big games. And then, defensively, they're just not quite as good because they're not quite as experienced as they were last season.
CJ, Kansas has been they had that close loss to Dayton, but they look really good. I'm comparing him to maybe Davion Mitchell. As Ochai Agbaji had that kind of jump from one year to the next where whatever he was deficient at, he has certainly worked on and maybe turned it into a strength.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like a different guy watching him. He's always been a solid, nice player who could shoot the ball, but his handle's gotten much better. He's still not like an elite ball handler, but he's good enough. And I just think his feel and his ability to make reads and just make decisions so much faster has gotten a lot better. And then the biggest thing is confidence. Like he's taking shots like a pull-up three in transition, that kind of stuff that you just didn't see him take in the past. He's making moves going to the basket that you just didn't see in the past. And yeah, it's been a Davion Mitchell is a good example, but almost even like I expected that out of Davion Mitchell. Like I just thought Davion didn't shoot at the ball as well his second to last season as he did as I thought he would, and so that kind of came around. So I think I was a little bit less surprised with Davion because I knew how good he was as I've been with Ochai, just because it's like watching a different player.
Look, seeing what you've seen so far, how do you think Baylor and Kansas match up with each other?
I think Baylor's size could give KU problems. Just how big they are on the wing, how, inside, that at least one of those dudes is going to have a good game, game in and game out. David McCormick's been really inconsistent for Kansas. So like for Kansas to have a shot, like he's going to have to be good whenever those two teams play. And then, KU's so small on the perimeter and Baylor can go so big. I'll be interested to see if Baylor will be able to expose Kansas. Kansas has played Stephen F. Austin, who was kind of a bigger team, and they were able to expose KU with some switches and picking on their little guys. So Baylor's got better positional size. KU's offense is probably maybe a tick better, but the defenses aren't even close. Like Baylor's defense is way better.
Villanova 7-4, still in the top 25, and obviously who they've played and who've beaten them. They played really good people. We saw them here against Baylor when they struggled offensively. Both teams played great defense in a way, but they lost to Creighton recently by 20. What does Jay Wright to get them back on? What does Jay Wright do, in your opinion, to get them back on track?
I think probably just keep doing Villanova things, and eventually it works out. You know, his talent's not quite as good as it's been in the past. You know, there at the 5 position, I think is something that Baylor kind of exposed them a little bit. Like, you know, make that guy try to make plays. And, you know, they have a couple guys in Gillespie and Justin Moore who are really good, but I don't know that they've got like that dominant wing that they've had in the past. But if they keep just running the Villanova system and, you know, running, they're like robots. I was watching their game against Purdue with the Illinois staff, and one of the Illinois coaches said, "Hey, CJ, have you ever seen robots play basketball?" That's Villanova. So the robots are going to get back on track eventually, but they're just not quite as talented as they've been in the past.
Which team that has occupied a number 1 spot and gotten knocked off do you feel is the scariest coming down the pipe when they bounce back?
Oh, it's Purdue. I'd say I think Purdue is you know, in that tier of top 1, 2, 3 teams in the country, and you know, lost to Rutgers. Kind of offensively had a little bit of a funk, like a 3-game funk. But seems to be back on track. Had a really dominant performance over the weekend against Butler. I love Purdue's team. I wrote about them earlier this season. They've got everything. Matt Painter is a great coach, a great offensive mind. They've got awesome inside scoring with Zach Edey and Travion Williams. Like that, the Baylor 5 combo is really good, but that 5 combo is better than anybody's got in the country. Then Jaden Ivey, another college basketball player who, you know, kind of has made that Davion Mitchell leap. Gone from a really, really good player to an elite one.
CJ, all last year, I think people were kind of counting down in hopes of seeing Baylor and Gonzaga, and especially when that regular season meeting got called off. It's kind of clear as of right now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it's a bit more wide open of a field maybe this year, or at least it appears that way. But is there a matchup that you're kind of in your head you would love to see, kind of like people were clamoring to see Baylor Gonzaga last year?
You know, maybe Baylor, Purdue, Arizona's a really good team who's playing at a super high level. They're probably up in that mix. I think Gonzaga is still going to be in the mix, but you know, UCLA, once they get their big kid back, Cody, I'm going to space on his name really quick, or Cody something, I know. You know, he hasn't been playing for them, and I want to see them at full strength. But yeah, I just named a bunch of teams there, but that kind of speaks to, I do think it's more wide open. But if I had to pick one, maybe I'll say Baylor, Purdue right now, because it'd be interesting to see that offense against that defense.
Who's the best player or 2 or 3 you've seen this year in college basketball?
Ooh, that's tough. Jaden Ivey's probably the most electric, I would say, that I've seen in college basketball. Man, I'm trying to.
I kind of put you on the spot because there's probably 2 or 3 dozen of them you could go with, but
yeah, the Duke kid, you know, Paul Benchar is obviously really, really talented. But I mean, there's a lot of really good talent in college basketball. I love Travion Williams from Purdue too. Like he's super fun. EJ Liddell is really good from Ohio State. Drew Timme from Gonzaga. So it's hard to say just one, because there's a lot of really good players in college basketball. I think you'll see that it's another strong draft class.
Jaden Ivey, of course, at Purdue, a 6'4" star. You could see it all over him, along with Drew Timme coming back from Gonzaga. And you mentioned Baylor's depth Baylor's length a minute ago, and their size because of what Kansas dealt with SFA and Kyle Keller. Isn't it amazing to you how good their young bigs are on the perimeter with what they've done with Sohan and also obviously Kendall Brown?
Yeah, just coming in with an awareness of who they are, and they're like grown men. You know, like they come in and they don't look like college freshmen. So I think it's really impressive with how they've come in and just bought in and not hunted shots, not been selfish guys. And usually it takes a while to get freshmen to really, really defend. And those guys have come in and just defended at such a high level. So they're special dudes. Like, you know, guys like that don't come along very often.
CJ, thank you. I look forward to the features you write, not just on the players at Baylor, but around the country. Always a great job. Thank you. Hope to have you on again sometime down the road, and enjoy your Christmas.
That's kind of you to say. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hey, he's a great feature writer. I'm telling you right now. CJ Moore, theathletic.com, has written some great stories, and Jonathan Shamwachachua, among some others, along the way. All right, when we come back, Shane Palacios, he's the owner of Cactus Rock Tamales. Wow, that's a surge of a pickup truck going about 80. He's in studio. He also brought us tamales that I ordered for the staff on this day, of course, the Tuesday before Christmas. We're going to discuss what he has and how you could possibly spice up what you have the rest of this week or throughout the holidays for possibly parties or just for yourself. That's next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Pickup Outfitters, and right now, if you are still trying to find out something to get for somebody for Christmas, and that somebody has a pickup truck, and maybe they have most of all the great accessories, but if in fact they don't, or maybe you don't, and you want something a little bit different, how about Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco? And what they have available: ranch hand front bumpers, rear bumpers, also the grill guards that you want to put on your truck, the bed liners, spray in, lay in, camper shells, deluxe commercial unit caps, the RKI heavy-duty crossover toolboxes. Toolboxes you can add to a pickup truck in certain ways or just put them on the top back right there between the cab and the bed as well. Gooseneck, fifth wheelers, all of that, the hitches, loaded up with great gifts for somebody that has a pickup truck you're trying to buy for Christmas, if in fact they don't have some of these, and in fact if they just want something a little bit better, newer, and looks better, and maybe just for you as well. Jay Errett, the owner, does a great job. Jay Errett, createacommotion.com is the website. I told you the story about David Carter from the Woodlands in Houston. Wanted to look at a car, an old antique car he had, what he could put with it and change it up. And they said, leave it alone. He's still going to go do some work there at Pickup Outfitters because he loved their customer service and honesty. It's Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
The all-new 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L is in stock. The beautiful, luxurious, elegant third-row seating carries the prestigious Jeep heritage. First responders get an extra $500. The 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo or Limited has total values of $2,400 or 0% for 72 months. It's the Big Finish sales event now at Allen Samuels, 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nitsche Group Insurance Agency. With the Nitsche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nitsche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nitsche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
We're going to hear from Western Kentucky All-American quarterback Bailey Zappe at the top of the hour. China Spring quarterback and up for Mr. Texas football, Major Bowden at 4:20. And then at 5 o'clock, Mack Rhodes, Baylor's Director of Athletics. We'll have Off the Radar, Top 5, and also much, much more. But kind of a different segment as we head into the Christmas week. We're in the Christmas week, but also into the Christmas break. Let's say that you want one night to do nothing and somebody else does something for you, or perhaps cooks for you or caters for you, or you have a Christmas gathering and you're kind of like wanting something. Well, I got to know Shane Palacios again from the Cactus Rock Tamales. Went over and saw him. I played around a golf one Saturday, drove down on Highway 6. He was there at Bar None. And, in fact, T-Rex got to be there a little bit later on, and he joins us in studio, Shane Palacios, on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. So when did this love begin, and how did you launch your business? And thanks for your time. Appreciate you being here in studio.
Well, first, thank y'all for inviting me. I definitely appreciate it. It started as a lot of things with my abuelita, grandmother. My grandparents on my dad's side are from Mexico, so they brought the traditions, they brought the food that they knew how to make. Growing up as a little kid, I helped make tamales with her. What's funny is my dad, when he was young, did the exact same thing along with his siblings that were still in the house. So when I got older, everyone bought tamales from other places and everything like that, but I was like, I want to learn how to make it. And I couldn't remember everything, and I asked my dad, I was like, hey, Dad, how did Grandma used to make them? He goes, well, this is how she did it. And he basically just taught me again what I just had forgotten. And then I started just doing it for family and friends and, just people that I knew. And about 2-3 years ago, I was like, you know what? This is something that I could definitely try to do and start a business. And that's exactly what I did. And it's a process. But I've been very blessed so far.
Well, look, I do consider myself a bit of an expert on food, Shane. And I'll tell you, I mean, just look right here. That's all. That's my credentials. But these are fantastic, and you clearly, the differences in the meat. What, like, a lot of times you just go and, like, you have a choice. You have a pork tamale or a chicken tamale.
Right.
What made you decide to, like, look, let's go, like, this is birria, which is very good, and you have all the different kind of varieties.
Right. It's basically just wanting to stand out and be different. Because growing up, like you said, it was either pork or chicken. And, I just didn't want to be like everybody else. So I decided to do brisket, and then I do portobello mushroom spinach with cheese and bean with cheese. But I have two different types of brisket. I do brisket and I do barbecue brisket that's been slow cooked in a pit. And I just do different varieties. I just want to stand out instead of just two options. I want to have more than that.
Okay, I'm the one that you when I met you,
yes, sir,
and went down and bought some. In fact, gave some to Craig as well. It was birria, right? It was
yes, sir. It was the beef birria, yes, sir.
Okay, try to explain the difference between that, what that tastes like compared to brisket or anything else.
Well, the beef birria, what I use is chuck roast. So it's a higher texture of meat, and I slow cook it for about 5 hours. So it's basically just cooked. I have my seasonings. In regards to brisket, everybody, you live in Texas, you know what brisket tastes like. Not everybody knows how the birria, especially with mine, how it tastes. And so you definitely are able to tell a huge difference in between brisket and the chuck roast.
Yeah, that's true, because it's got that, like, really tender. Not that, but like brisket's more of a fall apart meat, is where
correct.
The birria is like maybe a little bit heartier, or like, true. It's such a good flavor. And I'll tell you this, eating tamales my whole life, I've never had the cilantro, onion, and lime topper either, which kind of takes us over the top.
Yeah, but and that's another thing is we want to separate ourselves, like with the, we want to provide that. We want to provide the chips, which they do come free with our salsa. So, we don't charge for certain things, and we want people to know that we appreciate that. Everybody who comes out to our events is a blessing, and we definitely appreciate everyone who has come and everyone who's going to be coming to our events.
So the roux, the au jus, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Is it different types, or is it pretty much the same one? The stock?
It's the same one. It's the broth that the chuck roast is cooked in.
And you just take that and pour it right back into it. Well, you have a little coffee container, kind of like one of those.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah.
It's that, to me, is the extra key too as well. But yeah, you have cilantro, you have the onions, you have the lime. It's a full meal deal right here.
Of course.
How many of these do you, obviously depending on orders, but is there a specific, like on Wednesdays you cook 500, or what is it? How do you do that?
Well, it's a small business. It's just my wife and I. So, we have our regular jobs and everything, but it's something that obviously I want to do full time. So, after we're done, we do have a building that we make everything in, and sometimes we decide to do 6-7 dozen an evening, and sometimes we decide, let's take the night off. And so it really just varies. Obviously, with this time of year, the amount that we make is in high demand. Because everybody just wants to have tamales for Christmas, and they still go for until after New Year's.
Yeah, that's a very Texas thing, tamales for Christmas. Yeah, that's very Texas.
Yes, sir.
And it's tender, and it's tasty, and there's different types. You have cheese, chicken, you have pork, you have birria, and you have
the brisket. That's what I brought today. Yes, sir.
As well. And then, by the way, Armstrong is just chewing away at his as well. You like him, Armstrong? You like him?
He's not even using a fork,
no,
man.
I'm not either. I'm just
going right in.
Just like putting it in the sauce or the broth or whatever. And it's absolutely. You could almost just drink the broth.
Oh yes, sir.
You could actually almost like a cup of soup. Like the broth. So how do people get a hold of you? I know on Twitter it's at Cactus Rock Tamal,
right?
Without the ES.
We have the website. Our actual website is ilovetamales.com. Facebook, Cactus Rock Tamales, same thing as Instagram, Cactus Rock Tamales, and on Twitter, Cactus Rock Tamal.
You're telling me that nobody had ilovetamales.com.
That was just a blessing in disguise. The internet provider, or the GoDaddy, whenever I've called for support, I have to give the website address. And every time I've called in for support, they're like, how did you get this? And I was like, I don't know. And everyone has always said, never let that website go.
No, ever. No.
And so one thing is, I know that it has a reoccurring taking out of my bank, so I don't have to worry about forgetting it. So every year it takes out, and I'm happy with that. That is a very pleasant website because it's easy to remember.
Yeah, don't do what Jerry Jones did and let DallasCowboys.com go.
Because I have a website, it's smoky.com, and every 6 months I have that reminder to make sure that I renew whatever it is. And yeah, don't ever lose that.
Yes,
that would be awesome. All right. ilovetamales.com. Shane Palacios, he brought a ton of the tamales with us. Chicken, cheese, pork, birria, and also
brisket.
Brisket.
Yes, sir.
And it's fantastic. Tender, delicious, tasty. And we're going to sit there and make a fool of ourselves the rest of the show here on Sikkim 365 Radio. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
ilovetamales.com and also on Twitter at Cactus Rock, Tamal. You just don't have the ES for tamales. Shane, thanks for your time again.
Thank y'all, sir.
Coming up next, All-American quarterback, record-breaking quarterback, Western Kentucky's Bailey Zappe. Next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Since we're running a little behind, I'll keep this short and sweet. If you are looking for a new home or trying to sell the one you're in, you need to call my friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, 254-214-3713. I was with Lance the other day, and he was making a deal when I walked in the door. It was after hours, and he was certainly trying to help his client. He will absolutely do that for you. He wants to get you the best deal possible on your house. 254-214-3713 or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
When it comes to me and my money, I know the way it should be. I need a partner I can count on. That's Genco and me.
Genco has extended their offer till the end of the year. Refinance your vehicle today at Genco with rates as low as 1.69% for 48 months. And have 90 days of no payments. Refinancing can lower your payment, so you pay less for your car. Apply online and get an additional 0.1% off our already low rate. You can't pass on rates this low and make no payments for 90 days. For more information, go to GencoFCU.org.
Annual percentage rate subject to change without notice, subject to credit approval, membership eligibility, and loan policies. NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
They're people I trust. They treat me like family. My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McClain County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Hey there, it's Jay from Pickup Outfitters with a holiday public service announcement for all the wives and significant others out there looking for Christmas gift ideas for their man. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. At Pickup Outfitters, we say the way to a man's heart is through his truck. And there's no better Christmas gift for the man in your life than something for his truck. Would your man rather have a new bathrobe or bumper or a cool light bar, socks or a lift kit, a new wallet or new running boards? The answer seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Pickup Outfitters is your Christmas gift headquarters. Why get your man a hoodie when you can get him a slick new retractable bed cover? So don't waste money on a meat thermometer or sweatpants when you can get him a gift certificate for anything he wants for his truck. That's the way to get to a man's heart. Stop by Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco or check us out on the web at createacommotion.com.
All right, here we go, this 4 o'clock hour. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports with Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, and David Smoak. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. And if you paid attention at all to college football, you had to pay attention to what they were doing at Western Kentucky. My God, the offense was amazing. Bowl team, they recently won, and in that game, Bailey Zappe broke the records that were just set recently. The Joe Burrow records from LSU in the national championship year. Jared Stearns, also a part of that Earl Campbell, Tyler Rose list of weekly winners, and Baylor Zappe, one of the finalists, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Bailey, thank you very, very much for your time. And by the way, NFL scouts will love the fact that we said call it 4 and you called it 3:59. So right there and then, that's a good thing.
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, so what was it like to climb up the charts? I know winning is important, and you guys were a bowl team, and you won that bowl game, but getting up the charts in yards and passing and touchdowns, and then when you get there and break it, what did that mean to you?
It meant a lot. Me and my teammates, we've been working hard all spring, all summer, and, in the fall camp, and it was something that, it was awesome to see come to fruition, all the hard work that we put in going into this year. And, the only thing I can really say is, I'm grateful for my teammates. Without them, none of those records would have been broken. I wouldn't be here today. And, I'm just, I'm blessed to have those guys on my team. And, it was a real special year.
Bailey, when did you kind of feel like you guys were going to even approach that many passing yards?
To be honest with you, I can't tell you which game. I remember Coach Kitley telling us, we're going to have a great year. We're going to put up a lot of numbers, a lot of points, break some records. But to be quite honest with you, I didn't think we were going to go break NCAA records. I think when we kind of first realized, I guess, when we were, close and that it was possible was after the conference championship game against UTSA. And, of course, we didn't win that game, but we knew we had one more game left that, we kind of wanted to ride out our last year, our last game together with the W. And we were able to get, all the records and the W in the last game. So it was a special game.
Bailey, you mentioned Coach Kitley there. He's obviously off to Texas Tech to join Joey McGuire's staff. A lot of Red Raiders fans pumped up about that. What should they know about Coach Kitley, and just what did he mean to you over the last year?
He's a heck of a ball coach. I credit, everything that I've been able to accomplish, and the reason why I'm here is because of him. He came to HBU when I was a sophomore. He turned my career in a 180. It's something that, I'm forever grateful for, him coming to HBU and him going to Texas Tech. They've had the air raid before. They loved it when it was there with Patrick Mahomes, and Nick Shimanek, and those guys. And with Coach Kitley coming to Texas Tech, it's something that they're going to put up a lot of points there. They have a bunch of, great players there, great quarterbacks, great receivers, and he's somebody that's definitely going to get the pieces together, and they're going to roll this year.
We understand if you try to stop that offense, that it's basically just like it kills you. I mean, you absolutely run out of gas. Do the offensive players ever run out of gas? Will you run it so quickly?
Every once in a while, there'll be some that tap out for one or two plays, and they'll come right back in. But Coach Kitley and the coaches do a phenomenal job. Conditioning wise, and during the week in practices, and we do like a tempo drill at the end of every practice in fall camp that kind of like tries to help stimulate what we're going to do in the game and kind of get us game ready. But every once in a while there'll be you see a guy tapping his helmet, but he's only out for one or two plays and he's right back in there. But the receivers, they have their job's hard. They have to do they run down the field, run back, and line up for tempos, and they have to be in great shape. And we had a bunch of guys this year that took that initiative and did everything they can to, be in the best possible shape they could be for the team. And, it showed out this year on the field.
Bailey, the transfer portal is a really interesting thing in college football. It can be used by guys who are going from LSU to Alabama or something like that, and kind of helps the rich get richer. But in your case, the transfer portal was you were a little bit overlooked, or maybe you weren't at the level yet that you would be at now, and you went to Houston Baptist on the FCS level, and the transfer portal gave you an opportunity to go to the FBS level. What was that experience like, being able to kind of play your way and show people that you could do something that you knew you could do, but maybe the rest of the football world didn't know you could do it, maybe outside of Coach Kitley?
Yeah, I'm very thankful for the transfer portal, because without it, I wouldn't be here today. That whole process, getting in a transporter, Coach Keeley going to, WKU is something that really changed my career around and, kind of put me here where I am today. And, I'm sure everybody has their opinions on transporter. There's good things and there's bad things. And, for a guy like in my position, somebody that, has a dream of going to the NFL and wants to put himself in a position, around better competition like, I was around this year, transporter is an amazing thing. And, I was very grateful for Coach Helton giving me the opportunity to come be a part of his program. And, it definitely worked out.
How have you been able to handle all of the unexpected or newfound attention this year?
We've really enjoyed it. I think every single one of us has enjoyed it. Speaking, personally for me and, the guys at HBU, we didn't get that much attention there. And, getting the attention that we are now here at WKU is, is awesome. It's kind of, like we're kind of happy about it. We're enjoying it. We're loving it. And, it's, for Jareth and Josh and Ben, they deserve it. And they've worked their butts off to get to this point. And, I'm proud of those guys.
The Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, Craig is the one that compiles the weekly nominations. I'm a voter. Cindy Smoak is the one that runs the award. Earl Campbell's name is attached to it along with his sons, Christian and Tyler. What does that mean to you to be a finalist for that award?
It means the world to me. I remember watching it back when, Patrick Mahomes was a finalist there. And, it's always, it's been a dream to be a part of one of those awards. And, I'm grateful and blessed to be a part of it. And I want to thank all the voters for voting me and be a finalist. And hopefully when we get there to the, ceremony, I'm the winner. But if not, I know the guy that does, definitely deserves it.
Bailey, you are a Hilltopper now, and do they give you any kind of crash course on what an actual Hilltopper actually is? And if you encounter one in the wild, how should you approach a big red monster?
I have no idea what a Hilltopper is, to be honest with you. When we first got there, I remember asking one of the coaches. I actually asked Coach Kelly what it was. What's the Hilltopper? Like, what's our mascot? And a bunch of people's answers, it's a big red blob. And then I know back in the days, it would walk around and eat people. Like it would walk around and eat a fan, like stick them in the costume. So I was, I went from a husky to a big red blob.
Yeah.
So,
what's the response been like in your hometown of Victoria?
It's been awesome. I haven't really been able to, go out and, go see my friends or anything. This is my first day back, but, a bunch of people have reached out to me, congratulated me. A bunch of friends from back home definitely hit me up and congratulated me. And, it's awesome to see those guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing those guys this week and, catching back up and, telling stories.
I believe, and I could be wrong, Bailey, your last year at Victoria East High School was 7-5. You had kind of a team that went a couple of rounds deep. And now look where you are. And you were overlooked even then, even though Houston Baptist was great. They wanted you to play football for them. Can you sometimes just stop and realize what's happened to you in recent years?
I'm trying not to. I know I have a big part of my life coming up in this draft process, but coming out of high school, only having that one offer from HBU. My main thing is my dad always told me, my mom, I just needed the opportunity to, just have that one opportunity to go to a team, go to a program, and showcase what I'm able to do. And luckily, and Coach Shealy gave me the opportunity, and I'm grateful that he did that for me. And the rest is history.
Did you feel like at any point, like when you're at Houston Baptist, like you had maybe turned a corner and said, "Oh, this is all starting to come together now. I'm feeling more confident," and you wanted to show some schools what you could do?
Yes, sir. No, going into my junior year, we had a great year. I think we had like our best year at HBU. We went 5-7. We started building the program up, started winning more, and then going into my senior year before all the COVID stuff happened, it was going to be one of our better years. It was going to be one of the best teams we've had there at HBU, and then of course COVID hit. But just being there and being a part of that program and how it built and how I was able to be a part of that, from the kind of like the ground up, is something special and something I'll never forget. And I definitely built relationships there that will last a lifetime. And again, I'm blessed to be a part of that.
So, Bailey, in doing the Earl Campbell Award stats every week, I mean, you were obviously a constant on there. I mean, pretty much every single week this season for the most part. But your teammate, and you mentioned him a little bit earlier, Jerry Stearns, another Texas native, nearly 2,000 receiving yards this year. And I know he wasn't your only target. You had Mitchell Tinsley, who went for 1,400 as well. So just an amazing 1-2 combination there. But with Jareth, can you just kind of describe the relationship you guys have built and the combination and the 1-2 punch that you guys created, especially this season?
Yes, sir. We've been able to build, quite a connection these past 4 years. He was at HBU with me for 2.5 years, and we played this year, of course. So, throughout that time, we've kind of off the field, we became best friends. We've been able to build a great relationship off the field, and I think that's really helped translate onto the field on, having the same thoughts, kind of having that, we always joke around that we have telepathy. We're thinking the same thing at all times, but, just the way we've been able to build that relationship on and off the field over these past 4 years and kind of seeing it come to fruition this year. And he's a great ball player. I mean, he's smart. I've learned a bunch of things from him over this past few years on the football field, and he's definitely somebody I rely on in, tough and close situations. And, he's definitely bailed me out of a lot of situations and made me look good in a lot of situations as well. And, I'm definitely grateful to have a receiver like that, my 4 years in college.
Well, there's no question it's a great relationship with you in Western Kentucky, Houston Baptist, and now whatever is now in your future with the NFL.
I keep skipping over the HBU stuff, and not intentionally, but it's just like, I don't mean to, Bailey, but I kind of so focused in on this year with Western Kentucky and completely forgot about Jareth also transferring alongside you as well. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I mean, we were able to do it all together. It's awesome. His little brother Josh also came with us, so we were able to. It made the transition a lot easier going from HBU to WKU, also all being best friends, and it made the transition a lot more smoother. Us getting everybody on the team, becoming a part of the brotherhood, and kind of where me and Jareth, especially kind of being coaches on the field. He's coaching the receivers, I'm coaching the running backs, the O line, and before the coaches could have got out there and done stuff with us. So. Us two did a great job in the spring and the fall, or in the summer, kind of being a coach on the field.
You also experienced not only the exhilaration of what you guys did with football, the records, et cetera, the bowl win, what you did for Western Kentucky football in the school, but you also experienced the tragedy of what happened with Mayfield, Kentucky, which is a couple of hours from Bowling Green. What did that mean to the state and how people rallied around Mayfield, Kentucky?
I think it meant a lot getting that win in Boca Raton. We're able to get that win, and it gave us more motivation going into that week to kind of win it for those people that were affected in Bowling Green and in Mayfield. I was lucky not to have anything affected by tornadoes. I know we had a few teammates that did, and it's something that was, like you said, was devastating. And going into that week, the Boca Raton and the bowl game. We knew that we had to get this win for, everybody that was affected, and we were able to do that. And, if there's ever anything I can do, I told many people back there, let me know, and I'll fly up there and do anything I can to help out.
Wow, that's awesome. And good for you and everybody else, because you rally around that kind of thing. Tyson Helton, what does he mean to you?
Oh, man, he's awesome. I love Coach Helton. He's somebody that I definitely leaned on. Being with Coach Keeley for 4 years, I've learned a bunch of stuff with Coach Keeley, and learned his verbiage of everything in the football world, and being able to go up there to Western Kentucky and kind of hear from his Coach Helton side, the old head kind of football aspect of what he has to say. He might get mad at me for calling him old, but kind of the old head side of it. And I learned a bunch of stuff from him, football-wise, on the field and off the field. And, we keep in touch every day. We've been able to build a great relationship over this past year. And, I'm definitely grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of his program. And, it's something that, will last a lifetime, being able to have that relationship with him.
Hey, he's 44.
Wait a minute. He was born the year I graduated from high school, Bailey. He was born when I graduated from high school.
Well,
I am super old head.
Yeah.
Golly. I love. There goes my vote right there. You're out. You're done.
So Bailey,
I'll take it back. Let me take it back.
Bailey said that, and I thought, man, I've seen their coach.
Yeah.
He looks young.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking like, oh, like I think, well, maybe he just looks young for like being 60. No, he's 44.
Yeah, he's 44. That's 44 years ago. I graduated from high school. But thank you, Bailey. Anyway, we appreciate that. Bailey Zappe, Western Kentucky, record-breaking quarterback, with us on Sick on 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
So Bailey, what you mentioned you're back in Victoria, and I'm sure you're gonna, be able to see friends and family and all of that. But as far as that whole NFL draft process goes, I know you need to probably catch your breath. It's been a long season, but what does that look like now for you? What are kind of people telling you? What are you preparing for? How much of a break do you get? How's all that kind of work?
Well, speaking of draft and everything, I've heard everything. I've heard third or fifth round, stuff like that. I mean, of course, nobody will ever know until it happens. It's hearsay stuff. But, I've got an agent signing this week. I've gotten a place where I'm going to train at. So I'm doing all that logistical stuff right now. And, actually this Sunday, I'm actually headed down south to go hunting for a week and a half to kind of decompress, get away from football, relax, and kind of start getting ready for that whole training for 8 straight weeks and doing the Senior Bowl and all that stuff. So, I'm just going to try to sit back, relax, reminisce, and get ready.
All right, so you're going to go hunting, and just that is about as much of a decompression time just to get out in the wilderness, right, and nature, and just enjoy all of that, right?
Yes, sir, no doubt. Put the phone away and go sit in the deer stand.
Go find a hilltopper. I don't know what you're going to – whatever the hell that is, as you mentioned. We're having fun with that. Hey, Bailey, thank you. Brian Falkowski is the one who set this up. He's the sports information, athletic communications for Western Kentucky football. It's been great to go back and forth with him. We appreciate your access. Anything else, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, Bailey is just somebody who was reading your stats every week and following along. Just congratulations on an incredible year. I know you started off hot and then you kept on every single week, and it was amazing to see what you did and what Coach Kitley did and what Jareth did as well. A lot of great representation from the state of Texas, and I know the folks at the award are very excited about you being a part of the group, and we'll see what happens, obviously, but man, just congrats on an awesome year, and I know it's probably a little overwhelming, but man, just looking forward to your very bright future.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And now the Campbell Award banquet is in early January. You're going to be probably tied down, but if you can get your agent to get you to that banquet, it's worth it because Earl Campbell's going to be there along with somebody else, a lot of others as well. So good luck with that. Bailey, it's been wonderful to have you on the show. To put up your phone, let us leave you alone. Western Kentucky says thank you. Houston Baptist says thank you. And we say thank you as well. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
What a great personality. What a young man. What a story. Grad transfer. Ended up just shattering the great records by Joe Burrow, among others. And just, good for him.
Yeah, I won't sleep tonight because I totally blanked on his connection with Stearns going back to HBU and even to an extent Kitley. And you know what? I blame the transfer portal because I kind of partly do because it's so hard to keep track of where everybody's from and wherever. And like when I look at players now, I have to go, like if a guy was at Oklahoma, I could just know he played at Oklahoma. Now I have to go and double check and make sure that he wasn't at like Pitt for a year and then he transferred to Oklahoma. And I have to do that for almost every player now. That's not like memorized where I go like, oh, I know Gary Bohannon's always been at Baylor, but other places is like, he was at USC for 2 years and then, but yeah, I mean they did a great job at Houston Baptist. That isn't a program either that gets really any attention, quite frankly, in this state. I mean, maybe a little bit down south, but for the most part, they're not on the forefront of the talk in college football because they're a younger, smaller program at the moment. But you're producing guys like that, and they're going off to do the things that they're doing. That's going to bring a lot of positive attention to HBU, and obviously that was a tremendous trio alone of just Kitley, Stearns, and Zappe that went off to Western Kentucky. But, yeah, he lit it up every week. 5 touchdowns pretty much every single week. 5 touchdowns, if not 6. Bare minimum would be like 4 a week. And he just kept doing it week after week, and it was just incredible to watch, and good for him. Seems like a good young man, and wishing him the best.
Think about this. The Western Kentucky football program, Baylor defensive coordinator Dave Roberts was there as a head coach. Jack Harbaugh, Willie Taggart, Jeff Brom, and now Tyson Helton. Bobby Petrino was there for the 1 year, but a list of some guys that have been very successful, and Dave Roberts now, of course, the defensive coordinator for Dave Aranda at Baylor.
Roberts is
I'm sorry, Dave Roberts was the head coach at Baylor at one point. I'm sorry, that's right. Ron Roberts, the defensive coordinator. Dave Roberts was there for Baylor. It wasn't very long, was it, Paul?
Nope.
During that very tough stretch. Sorry about that. When we come back, he's a state championship quarterback. He's going to Lamar University, and he's up for Mr. Texas football, and he played for Brian Bell, who's now a part of the Baylor staff. Major Bowden joins us next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
BetUS.com. Use our promo code SICKM125 and SICKM200 for a 125% bonus on cash or a 200% bonus on crypto. And right now, look, it's been $100 to get that bonus. Now it's $50. If you make a deposit of $50 right now, of $50, and use our promo code, you're going to get that. It was $100. Now it's down to $50. So just a $50 deposit at BetUS.com can get you those great bonuses. SICKM125 and SICKM200. That is SICKM125 and SICKM200. A lot of stuff going on right now. There's college football bowls, the NFL, the NBA. All that's going on right now, and action on all of it at BetUS.com. Again, use our promo code SICKM125 and SICKM200.
Payments for qualified buyers at 2.9% with $5,000 down cash or trade. TTL Extra. See deal for details.
Get the quality pre-owned car you need now at a price you can afford at Richard Car. Find great deals like a 7-passenger 2016 GMC Acadia for $225 a month, a 2019 Ford F-150 for $438 a month. Plus, get top dollar for your trade now. Richard Car. Pre-owned vehicles go through a 172-point inspection, and our aggressive lenders say yes when others say no. Find your next car or truck at Richard Car today.
At Richard Car, we give you more.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Masters of barbecue, kings of crazy good food, and the perfect sanctuary for sports, beer, and barbecue is Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco and also on Highway 84 in McGregor. A menu filled with choices like a great offensive playbook, including 3 meat combos with sides, burgers, and sandwiches, wings, loaded giant spuds, and salads, crazy wings, chicken poppers, big boy fries, and smoking quesadillas, just some of their amazing appetizers. There's Coach Big Ol' Draft Beer or order Zach Zach's Spicy Bloody Mary or Coach's Margaritas and Mimosas while watching your favorite team play. Great pecan smoked barbecue, fun atmosphere with attention to detail, including a catering menu, and we'll quote your price to fit your budget. Coach's XXX Smoak on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and walking distance to the great places to shop and enjoy, and also the original location on Highway 84 in McGregor. Great food, great price, great fun. Eat where the locals eat.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I've seen people walk in there. First of all, you have so much to show. Necklaces, bracelets, rings. You have the watches. You have numerous great watches as well. You really have pretty much everything, don't you, when it comes to jewelry?
That's correct. Kind of a one-stop shop and all. And the fact that we have the 2 jewelers on staff, the repairs we can do, the fixing of your jewelry, and the remaking of any jewelry has really set us apart from anybody else.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner, Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, here we go. Craig Smoak's off the radar coming around the corner. Baylor Director of Athletics Mac Rhodes at 5 o'clock. We are now joined by state championship quarterback up for Mr. Texas football in the great state of this Texas, of course, and also headed to Lamar University, Major Bowden, a few days after they captured the state championship with a win against Gilmer. Major, thanks for your time. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, and David Smoak. What's it been like since late Friday evening? What's it been like in your life? We have him?
Yeah, he's on. Major, can you hear us? Let me try calling him back.
All right, we'll try to reconnect with him. That was awkward. See if we can
only making it more, but yeah, I mean, we got a bowl game going on here. Wyoming trailing Kent State 24-21 as those just continue to roll on along.
Major Bowden, China Spring quarterback, state championship. What's your life been like since late Friday evening when you captured the 4A Division II state title?
Yeah, it's all been nice. You know, the community's really rallied around us, and just they're all great. They're all super pumped to have one come our way. So it's been pretty nice.
Major, I mean, it's been a long time since China Spring won. How many, old China Spring folks have come to you just like just in gleeful about that win?
Yeah, they were all pretty pumped to have someone to connect with and to have that relationship with. So yeah, it's super cool.
Major, has it sunk in yet, or when did it sink in? If it has,
I'm not even sure if it's actually all the way sunk in. But yesterday when we went and designed the rings, it probably hit me then.
Oh, really? Yeah, that would probably. How big is that ring going to be? You have any idea?
It's pretty big. It's going to be a lot to wear.
Yeah, these championship rings now get to the point where you almost can't wear them. They're so large. It like weights your hand down, but it is a good thing. Your father told me, and you're the third of 4 children in your family, that when most people fall into a mud puddle, they get wet, they get muddy, and they can't get themselves cleaned up. You come out of a mud puddle holding on to an 8-pound bass. That's always been just kind of what you do. You make something out of anything. What's that been like, and is that true?
Yeah, I mean, that's just how I was raised, I guess. That's just how I've always been, but that's a good comparison.
So you found your 8-pound bass on Friday evening with Gilmer. When you scored the touchdown to put you up 31-7, it was kind of a fist bump or two. Did you know then? What was that feeling like, even though you had the game in control, to know you pretty much put it away?
I knew that was probably the game-winning touchdown out there, and just looking up at the crowd, seeing everything, it was sweet.
What does it mean to the community? What's it been like around the community?
Yeah, it's been a lot. They've all like rallied around us and just been giving us free food here and there, and just all been pumped to have a win. So you can definitely feel it.
Major, you're going to Lamar University to play for Blaine Morgan, who played at Air Force Academy. I know you're playing different positions. They're going to find what's best for you. Did he ever talk to you much about the option that he ran at Air Force Academy, and is that anything that might include you down there?
Yes, sir. He's talked to me a little bit about it. For the most part, I'll just be a running back there. He said they might come up with a few packages since I ran the option here that maybe I get to go and run some option there. But for the most part, I'll be a running back.
Major, just can you kind of put into words what the journey was like? I mean, you guys obviously, we saw y'all last year at the tough loss to Connolly and what was a fantastic game at y'all's place, and obviously got to the playoffs and came up short. So, I mean, I imagine the mindset was like that of a lot of, senior-laden teams, but can you just describe sort of the journey from last year and then, making sure that this year was the year and capping it off?
Yes, sir. So coming off the Carthage loss last year, we all were just motivated to not let that happen next year, which is this year. And so we just all worked really hard over the off season and just had the goal in mind and just go 1-0 every week, and just it flew by, and it's crazy.
The teams that you beat even in the playoffs last year, which included West Orange Stark, included Sealy, and then you doubled down by beating them again. And then also along the way, you beat Cuero in the semis and, of course, Carthage. What did it mean going into that game knowing you had a chance because you'd played them? They beat you pretty badly last year. But what did it mean? How confident were you? Because it seemed like even though they are the 800-pound gorilla, that you might have been the team that felt like it was your time.
Yes, sir. We had a lot of confidence going into that game. And for a part of me, I was kind of nervous that maybe we had too much confidence going into it. But, yeah, we had a lot of confidence going into it, and we were just determined to not let it happen again, and we were right.
Major Bowden, China Spring quarterback, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Now, there was a little bit of that story yesterday that happened in the China Spring football program. Brian Bell announced that he was leaving. He's going to be hired at Baylor. Can you kind of describe what the day was like when you found out? What was it, kind of the protocol throughout the day?
Yes, sir. So he just called a team meeting up, and we all went up there, and he told us the news, and everyone was kind of shocked, but at the same time, we all knew, we all understood, and so we were all super happy for him, but just kind of shocked in how fast it all happened, but super proud of him.
What did he mean to the program? I know his father was there for a long time. His brother played there, of course, now at Baylor. What did Brian Bell mean to the program, in your opinion, in the short time he was the head coach?
Yes, sir. I mean, he was the face of it. Everyone knows China Spring by the bells, and so he was a good face of it. But we all just really connected to Coach B and loved him. So it's going to be a shock.
Mr. Texas football finalist, with a history of what this state means when it comes to football and high school football. When you found that out, what was your reaction, and what would that mean to you if, in fact, that by being a finalist alone, what does that mean to you?
Yes, sir. It's a huge honor. I mean, it's something you kind of dream of, but you don't really think about. But when I saw that, I was super pumped, and just to be a finalist is super cool.
Your father told me that you're the third of 4 children, that he prayed that you would be a redheaded boy. I think that pretty much happened, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
He said you were born with nothing but skin and bones and blazing red hair, like a matchstick.
Matchstick. That's a good comparison.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm surprised that's not his nickname.
Yeah, matchstick. I think, well, you're a spark to the offense. You can light the match, right? And now, how many times growing up did people tell you you were too small to play football and be good at it?
Growing up, they kind of made jokes about it and stuff, and maybe a few times they were like, "You're too small to go play college football," or everything. But I knew you kind of have to block that out.
You're tougher than hell, aren't you, man? Where did that come from in your life?
How I was raised, watching my brother play before me. He was a tough, just go get it every play kind of kid. So just watching him and just learning from him, I just took that on.
And he was at Mary Hart. He's at Mary Hart and Baylor, correct? A part of the national championship team?
Yes, sir.
So what a weekend that was.
Yes, sir.
What did he say? Did he text you or you text him?
We kind of both texted each other because I think he kept up with my game before his game, and then I watched his on the bus ride home. So we were both just super pumped and just kind of in awe that it happened.
How many pages of statistics do you have from your grandfather, or does he have, Tom, of Major Bowden, your father, your brother, and how cool has he been in your career?
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, he has every stat ever in our whole lives. So if I ever need to go back and ask him for a stat, he's got it. He's got it in his house. So it's super cool.
You mentioned college football. You're headed to Lamar University to play for Blaine Morgan. We mentioned that. And I know that Braden Faulkner's going down there as well. The Cardinals, of course, trying to get that program back to respectability. Give me an idea about the recruitment and why Lamar.
Yes, sir. They've been a lot, like they connect a lot with the players they're recruiting, and just the atmosphere that they're trying to build out there and get their program jump started again. It just seems like a cool place to be.
Hey, enjoy the Christmas holidays. We just had Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zappe on, who set all the records for passing in college football history. And he said he's about to go hunting to decompress, put his phone up, and enjoy a little bit of downtime. What's next for you?
Yes, sir. Just spending time with family over the break, and then just, I guess, getting ready for the track season.
Well, yep, you'll probably do well as well with what you've done. Major, it was fun to watch you and see what you accomplished. I know it wasn't just you, it was everybody else. You got some big dudes in front of you that blocked, and of course you had skilled people everywhere as well. Congratulations. The defense was incredible. Thanks for your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Major Bowden, state championship quarterback at China Spring, and we saw them in a game last year, in an overtime game against Connolly. That was a dramatic finish, and they still went on to get a couple, 4 rounds deep, and then lost to Carthage in the quarterfinals, and this year they beat Carthage in round 3. They beat some dogs. Carthage, West Orange Stark, Gilmer, Cuero, and Sealy that have probably a couple of dozen state championships in their history. And now they have 2, 1978 with China Spring and also on Friday night.
Yeah, that was big for the city of China Spring, the town of China Spring, whatever you want to call it. That's 1978. That's a long time. Yeah, people just have come and gone from the earth and not got to see it.
What did you say it was?
It's a long time.
Yeah, that was another.
It's 3 years before I was born.
It was a year after I graduated from high school, and I'm an old head. Remember?
Yeah. Well, look, I am either an old head or a pre-old head, because if Coach Helton's an old head, he's 44, I'm 41.
Yeah, you're not even close. When we come back, Craig Smoak's off the radar. Congratulations to Lorena, Ray Biles, who lost to China Spring by 8, I think it was, and lost by 7 to Franklin. Franklin, China Spring, and Lorena all won state championships, and so did Live Oak, the private school, 6-man school in Waco, Texas. This is Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. If you want pizza and good pizza, you want it delivered to you, Marco's Pizza with 4 locations in Waco. Robinson, the new location. Belle Meade, also the one that delivers to us, and in Woodway and China Spring. Bob Mock, the owner, has been in the pizza business for over 30 years, understands it. He started out like a lot of people who own pizza companies eventually do. Start out by driving. You start out then by running the store, and then you start out with their franchise, and now he has 4 locations in Waco. Great guy. Does a lot of work around Baylor University as well. Bob Mock and Marco's Pizza, now over 1,000 different stores around the country. They have the original 3-cheese pizza, and it's 3 different cheeses combined that you put on top. And of course, you've got all meat. You've got the veggie pizza. You've got just a plain cheese pizza, pepperoni, whatever you want. I like the flat, the thin crust. That's always been my favorite, no matter what pizza I do eat. And you can get it online at marcos.com. Bob Mock and Marco's Pizza, 4 locations in Waco, Texas, Belle Meade, China Spring, Woodway, and also Robinson. Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. In a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco is a hidden gem. They've got a great selection of spirits, wine, and the most extensive selection of craft beer in Waco in their gorgeous walk-in fridge. And they have an amazing array of high-end bourbons like Pinhook, Weller, Buffalo Trace, Brush Creek, Hotel, Garrison Brothers, Thomas S. Moore, Hooten Young, and Bardstown. Great customer service and a convenient and speedy drive-through window. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness continues to add more weapons to your getting or staying in shape arsenal with 8 brand new treadmills ready for you to run or walk a mile or 2 or 10. And with the explosion of interest in pickleball with instructors Joe Rosa and Jody Thurman with more courts available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with large flat screens stretched across the weight room with Wi-Fi available, their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports. Everywhere you look, there's energy, passion, and commitment. New touchless water fountains outside of each locker room, and all the locker rooms with showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts with a youth academy led by pro Britt Coleman. Fitness and tennis merchandise available and a tanning bed. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes including twice-a-week boot camp. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Shorty's Pizza Shack at 12th and Bagby is a homegrown, family-owned and operated must-visit pizza place in Waco. Fantastic pizza by the slice or get the whole pie to share. Great happy hour specials every single day, and it's not just pizza. Great wings. You have to try the Sikkim sauce, chili cheese fries, pizza pillows, and more. Dine in for a great hangout or carry-out. Order online at shortyspizzashack.com or do yourself a favor and bring your crew to the restaurant at 12th and Bagby. Shorty's Pizza Shack. Tell them Paul sent you by.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar. Brought to you by Pickup Outfitters. Since 1997, we've been outfitting trucks, SUVs, and vans at 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
All right, welcome into Off the Radar. Taking a look at some stories from around sports that we might not otherwise get to or have a lot of time for. Here's a small college football note. Temple, this is, I think, it was Bruce Feldman, I believe, but if not, it's one of the other guys. Temple is targeting Texas Director of Recruiting Brandon Harris to become the new Owls Director of Player Personnel. Harris, you may recognize him as a former LSU and also North Carolina quarterback. And Texas had the number 5 recruiting class in the nation this year. He had played a role in that. Obviously, a lot of other people did as well, including the boosters. But now it looks like he could be taken. I mean, come on. I'm not even it's not even a cheap shot. It's so true that, the boosters are playing a role in recruiting. It's not even a cheap shot. It's absolute fact. But Yeah, I mean, he played a role. Boosters played a role. Steve Sarkisian played a role. A lot of people did. But Brandon Harris looks like he's going to be leaving Austin potentially and heading to go be director of player personnel at Temple with their new staff.
Yeah, Greg's not taking it cheap. Like, I know somebody's going to say that's a cheap shot, but look, if you're telling all the offensive linemen they're going to have $50,000, you couldn't have gotten them there faster if you said, and free sandwiches.
If you didn't get the class you had with that. By the way, and I'm going to say this about that. I don't want to one of the places that likes to jab people and maybe insult people or go after people sometimes is the Texas fan base. But by God, when you even joke about something, they can get awfully sensitive.
Oh, no. Very much
exactly
so.
Right.
Very much so. And, like, that's the thing is, like, you're openly offering $50,000 to just come play somewhere. I'm going to talk about how your boosters are helping to land recruits for you. I'm going to.
Here's what I'll tell you is the difference between what Texas is doing and maybe some other places are doing. We know about the Texas thing. There's probably a lot of others that we don't know about because it'll just be under the radar, so to speak, of like, well, you're going to get the same amount of money to play for LSU, but, it's not going to be wrapped up in this other thing that Texas is doing.
Yeah, it's not heavily publicized, and I know that other schools are doing the same thing, but it's just not as out in the open. And I'm not knocking Texas for. I'm just simply saying their boosters are paying for recruits. It's just it's a fact, and if you want to take it as a cheap shot or something, then be mad at facts. I guess I don't care. Elsewhere. Florida has landed a quarterback from the transfer portal, former Ohio State quarterback Jack Miller, who was a 4-star member of the 2020 class, has committed to play for Billy Napier and Florida. He only played in 5 games with Ohio State, 7 of 14, 101 yards, ran 7 times for 22 yards and a score. He was in that quarterback competition during the spring. C.J. Stroud obviously ultimately won that and now has resulted in at least 2 transfers with Quinn Ewers and now Jack Miller. Ewers obviously heading to Texas and Miller headed to the University of Florida.
Yeah. By the way, I had some of that ghost pepper salsa, and it's still with me a little bit. It's good, though. Jack Miller, though, will be in a competition with Anthony Richardson. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Richardson was kind of Florida's bright spot on offense this year, but had a lot of injuries and then also hurt himself dancing after a win. And so it just was kind of a weird year for Anthony Richardson. Curious to see what happens in that quarterback competition, but they're going to need one. They're going to need depth. I mean, Anthony Richardson, if anything else, has proved talented, but also injury prone. So you're going to have somebody behind him. So Jack Miller has a great chance to win that job. I guess Jalen Kitna is one of the other quarterbacks on the Florida roster as well, who now after being there a year might have a shot at the starting job as well. Yeah, and we've seen a lot of transfer portal decisions being made. I mean, there's going to be far more as the weeks go along, but there have been quite a few, especially the bigger guys, like a Jack Miller, Quinn Ewers, and Eli Ricks. All those players, Spencer Rattler, Austin Stogner. I mean, there's been quite a few that have all found spots relatively quickly, and it's going to take a little more time for some others. But it's fast and furious, and Florida has found a quarterback. Jack Miller from Ohio State. One thing to mention, I skipped over one of my notes there, but the connection with Brandon Harris and Temple is Stan Drayton is the new head coach at Temple, who comes over from Texas as running backs coach. And so there's the connection with Brandon Harris potentially heading to Philadelphia. A couple of baseball notes because we haven't talked baseball in quite a while. Paul, your thoughts on the A's? Hiring a new manager. There's been a couple of new manager hires in the last 3 days or so in Major League Baseball. But Mark Kotsay, the new manager, replacing Bob Melvin in Oakland / wherever they actually end up playing over the next few years. He was their third base coach, and usually you don't see guys come up from the staff of the guy that just got fired, but they really like Mark Kotsay. He's a young manager. I mean, he'll be like 45, 46 when the season starts. And I thought Mark Kotsay might have wound up in college baseball as a coach because he was a fantastic college baseball player as well. But I like to hire Mark Kotsay. Again, get young, no knock on Bob Melvin, but Bob Melvin had been other places. Baseball can, like everywhere else, can kind of get out of the recycle bin. I like it when you go hire a Gabe Kapler or Mark Kotsay, somebody who's not, been through the ringer a little bit.
He didn't play that long ago. I mean, You're right, with a lot of different teams. I saw that name. I was like, man, I thought he was like 38 years old. He's 40-something, so good for him.
Well, speaking of going back to the well, or however you phrased it there, Buck Showalter was announced over the weekend as the new manager of the New York Mets. Owner Steve Cohen announcing that about 3 days ago. Yeah, it was about 3 days ago. So Showalter was out of the game for past 3 seasons and now back. And
apparently people missed him.
Who hasn't he managed at this point? He's been a manager for a bevy of teams. But, 3-year deal to manage the New York Mets.
They need, if you're going to be in New York, and I know this can be overrated, but you got to have someone who's an asshole. You got to have someone who, as a manager, can handle, and he's been there before. He can be gruff, and you kind of need to be that way with that media that they have in New York. Now, can he win? I don't know. I don't know.
The best thing he ever, of course, he won a World Series with the Diamondbacks. Well, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't win a World Series with the Diamondbacks.
I was going to say, no.
Yeah, no, he was there, fired. Here's the best thing that Buck Showalter does for you. Everywhere he's been, the Yankees won the World Series after he got fired. The Diamondbacks won the World Series after he got fired. The Rangers went to the World Series after he got fired. The Orioles, well, they're still an abject failure because that was a top-down thing, but having him there didn't help them at all. So the Mets, who have Max Scherzer, who, again, Buck Showalter's real strength is teaching young players how to be pros. And you look up and down that Mets roster, I mean, there's some young players on it, but does Max Scherzer need to learn how to be a pro? No. Like, what Buck Showalter going to teach him? I don't like this hire. Of course, I'm not a big Buck Showalter fan, and I don't know. I wish the Mets had gone maybe a little bit more innovative with this.
So there's a couple of baseball notes for you, just looking at some of these hires, and who knows if we're going to have a season like that. Like when does that even come into play? I mean, spring training's right around the corner, quite frankly, just a few weeks away. But they're in the midst of a lockout, so I mean, who knows when we see Buck Showalter out there actually doing his thing. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, in hockey, got the 2022 Beijing Olympics that'll be coming up here in just a few months, as we'll turn the page to 2022 in about a week and a half. But the NHL had announced about 4 months ago that they would be sending their pros to go represent their respective countries in the 2022 Beijing Olympics. Well, now they've reversed course. Thanks to a rise in coronavirus cases, the NHL is not expected to participate, nor is players, I should say. NHL players are not expected to participate in this summer's 2022 Beijing Olympics, so they're backtracking on their call just a few months ago. Obviously, some things have changed in the last few months, including the recent rise in cases. It's expected to be announced formally on Wednesday, according to those that are in the know, and they were speaking anonymously because the NHL and the Players Union had not discussed this at all publicly, so they're keeping it hush-hush, but it's words leaked out that they're going to go ahead and take the pros out of the Olympics, and the postponements have been fast and furious in the NHL as well. So they're dealing with that, and they got to worry about the NHL before they worry about the Olympics, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's true. I actually wish everybody would pull out of the Olympics, not because I don't want to watch the Winter Olympics, but I don't think they should be hosted in Beijing. I think that they should be boycotted. But
yeah.
Does LeBron agree with you?
You know what? You know who felt that way is our politicians, and you know what the response from China was? We'll make you pay for that. That was the response from Chinese leadership. We're not going to show up for the Olympics. Our politicians aren't going to show up there, and your response was, we're going to make you pay for that. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, I wouldn't care if we just boycotted the whole thing either. Don't care. Yeah. I'm fine with that, but others have. Dollar signs in their eyes when it comes to that place, it seems like.
That's the only reason you would, because
the only reason.
I mean, there's not.
You mean bazillions of dollars of reasons?
Yeah, bazillions are. I mean, it's it's easy to see why it happens. It's unfortunate that it's like every tough choice is comes with some pain, but standing up to China would be a really smart and admirable thing to do.
Good luck with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Basketball-wise, the candidates for the upcoming Basketball Hall of Fame have been announced. There are a few notable names. 4-time NBA champion Manu Ginobili is up for candidacy. First-time nominee. There's 13 first-time nominees. Referee Joey Crawford is a nominee.
Come on.
4-time All-Star Tom Chambers. Yeah. Boy, it really feels like they're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I mean, not Manu, but these other two. So, Tom Chambers was okay. Hall of Famer?
No, I wouldn't have thought of that. He's a hell of a player. Never would have thought of him maybe as a 4-time All-Star. I don't know if they ever won an NBA championship. No. but I wouldn't think of him as a Hall of Famer. Nothing against him, but not as
he was
a Hall of Famer.
He was a good card to get in the packs.
Yeah.
Like he was a nice secondary player to add, but he was never like the star on the Suns or anything growing up. He was always the second, third, fourth, whatever have it wheel. But he's also one of the first-time nominees as well. The finalists for the class will be announced in February during NBA All-Star Weekend. I mean, Manu seems like, no pun intended, as much of a slam dunk. But, man, when when your headline is Ginobili, Whalen, and Crawford as your headliners, that's a really weak class.
Yeah, under the new names.
The new names, yeah.
Tom Chambers is my age. He hadn't played basketball since '97. Man, that's a long time. 20 years or 24 years.
Yeah, and Lindsey Whalen, a four-time WNBA champion. So that, again, will be announced in January, as I mentioned, the newest class of the Basketball Hall of Fame. But they put down the list of first-time candidates today. Elsewhere in... Let's see, college football right now. We've got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl that's ongoing. Wyoming on their way to potentially winning that game. 2:42 left to go in the third quarter. The Cowboys of Wyoming are up 35-24 on Kent State. Coming up here in about an hour and a half, you'll have the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. Because, again, tropical smoothies in Frisco, just one, just the exact same. It's what I think of with Frisco's tropical smoothies. But apparently the big storyline out of this is not only UTSA and number 24 ranked San Diego State, which should be a hell of a game, and obviously the Jeff Traylor talk about him maybe getting one of these big jobs that was open is all moot now because all the jobs have been filled. Now, of course, the NFL could come calling for some guys and create some more chaos, but it looks like Jeff Traylor is going to stick around in San Antonio for a little while longer. So an opportunity to get a top 25 win. But based on a tweet I saw a little while ago, people are out there tailgating because it kicks off at 6:30. And whoever organizes the bowl game, there are no porta potties in the parking lots at the Frisco Bowl. So you can imagine that that's going over really well, I would think, in the parking lots out there at the Frisco Bowl.
A lot of restaurants and convenience stores are getting hammered by those who are hammered.
And trees.
Yeah, and trees
and
bushes.
Alcoves.
Yeah,
The guy in charge of the porta potties just... I knew there was something I forgot about.
That's always been one of the jobs. You know, what's that guy, Mike, that does those dirty jobs or whatever? I wonder if they've ever done one where they've hired.
They've done all that stuff. Okay. All the dirty job stuff. And so we got two bowl games coming, or one on right now with Kent State and Wyoming, and it looks like Kent State's on the kickoff return. So they're down 11, and I got a couple minutes left in the third quarter and then most of the fourth quarter to go. Meanwhile, told you about baseball, told you about basketball, and elsewhere. In the NFL, there's a lot of problems going on right now with COVID-19 and the protocols and all of that. It's been a bit of a mess, and quite frankly, I don't know really how they're going to get out of it. I mean, they're navigating as best they can, but because of that, we do have two Tuesday night games, and they're both coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. Seahawks and Rams, 5-8 Seattle, 9-4 LA, and also at 6, both games on Fox. Washington, 6-7 against 6-7 Philadelphia, and as you guys mentioned earlier, Garrett Gilbert will get the start for Washington because basically every other Washington quarterback is in COVID protocol for the time being. So they are riddled, and if something happens to Garrett Gilbert, then we're going to basically get a glorified practice squad game. Breaking out on a Tuesday night the way this is going.
Yeah, and they got to turn around and they have to practice Thursday and Friday, travel Saturday, and be in Dallas on Sunday. It's not a great situation for Washington. It's not a great situation for Philly either, or Seattle or LA tonight. But Washington's the one among those teams that really has the most problems.
Yeah, no, we got a couple of really high-scoring affairs last night. Raiders 16-14 over the Browns. Vikings 17-9 over the Bears. Some big-time Monday Night Football going on with that doubleheader they had last night. I can tell by your responses you enjoy the heck out of it.
I had it on background music.
Both those games were really bad, and
yes,
the Minnesota-Chicago game was especially just terrible.
Yeah, I mean it was a lot of bad football last night, and some of it was enjoyable, but not the most exciting games in the world. And I could probably fill out the rest of the hour with just COVID protocol stuff. But the Chiefs have placed Tyreek Hill along with 6 others on the reserve COVID-19 list. He's joined by tight end Blake Bell, linebacker Nick Bolton, offensive lineman Lucas Niang, safety Armani Watts. A lot of familiar names, Big 12 and A&M names there. Cornerback Rashad Fenton. They had just put Travis Kelce on there. They had just put their kicker on there. They just put a defensive back on there, Charvarius Ward. So, the Chiefs are going through it, and they're supposed to face the Steelers on Sunday, so we will see how that goes.
Yeah, and the biggest one named today was Cole Beasley. Cole
Beasley's
out for 10 days. But, I will say this, and I wasn't mad, but I thought Cole Beasley's rhetoric was a little bit irresponsible at the time, but at least he was honest that he was never going to get it, and he didn't, get a fake Vax card or something like that.
Yeah, who would do that?
The Bills have known his status the whole time, and they've probably been prepared for this inevitability.
Yep. So, it's a lot of protocol stuff going on in the NFL, baseball, just kind of in lockdown mode after hiring some managers and signing some free agents, and basketball, looking at a Hall of Fame class, and obviously the regular season continuing on as well, both college and the pros. But, there's a few things that are off the radar.
Well, and it was awesome. And every single Tuesday and Thursday at 4:45, a little bit of something that we don't get enough time to talk about, and we do during that segment. When we come back, Mack Rhodes today spent time as they were trying to announce and discuss and also chew on and digest the new Foster Pavilion after that was released over the weekend. His thoughts about today's meetings and much more. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Pioneers Steel and Pipe. Since 1943, they've been in business. 1943. That's amazing. Great customer service. You have to have that, but you also have to have great product. You can be the nicest person on earth, the greatest business, friendliest business as far as that's concerned. Shake everybody's hand. Do whatever you can, but your product has to be great. It's like a restaurant. You could have the nicest people own a restaurant, but the food has to be great. The service has to be great. And Pioneer Steel and Pipe, they have great customer service. You have to. For 1943, since 1943, and I can't stress that because that's amazing. Through all of what we've seen, 78 years in business, and their product, pipe, steel, metal, building things, metal building expertise, building large, big, strong buildings because of their product, and of course the delivery and much more. And they're building the new facility. And as Braden Embry told me, well, you know what? It's going to make us bigger, better, faster, stronger. And that's saying a lot. The distribution will be even more freely and even more efficiently. And they've been great since 1943. PioneerBoys.com.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833 Ideal MRI, idealmri.com.
Jay from Pickup Outfitters here with your holiday gift-giving guide. So it seems the air fryer is an, air quotes, hot Christmas gift this year. An air fryer? Come on, really? First, an air fryer is not a real fryer. It has no grease. It's a mini convection oven. And you probably already have one of those in your house. So you're just wasting money on something that's not even real. You know what is real? A grill guard. It's made of real steel and it protects the truck of someone you love. And you can get one for that special person on your Christmas list at Pickup Outfitters. So avoid common Christmas gift mistakes like house slippers, a beard, nose, ear, hair, and eyebrow trimmer. Or a man purse? You better not. Give a Christmas gift that says, I love you. A grill guard, a toolbox, running boards, and other great gifts at Pickup Outfitters. You can even get a gift certificate to let them pick out whatever they want. Pickup Outfitters is the Christmas gift headquarters. 220 Lake Erie Drive in Waco.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
The Big Finish sales event is going on now at Allen Samuels. The new 2022 Ram 1500 Lone Star Quad Cab has values up to $6,750 or 2.9% for 72 months, plus $2,000 bonus cash. First responders get an extra $500. Ram, the winner of the prestigious J.D. Powers Initial Quality. The Big Finish sales event is now at Allen Samuels, 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Interesting fake and work. It's a touchdown to Ben Sims. Just love the poise of this young quarterback.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics Mac Rhodes is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Here goes. Jamba Joshua. The exclamation point.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. Joined by Baylor's Director of Athletics, Mac Rhodes, Tuesdays at 4:20. Today he was kind of busy. He's busy now, but somehow we continue to get lucky with the segment with Coach Mac Rhodes. I just said Coach Mac Rhodes. I did. So you have meetings. That's what you do. You have a lot of them. And now you have, what is it, City Council, Commissioner's Court, all of that. Yummy.
Yeah, no, it was a great meeting, and we were invited, both Dr. Livingstone and I, to participate, to present, and so grateful to the mayor and to Bradley Ford and Waco City Council and the Clinton County Commissioner's Court, and meeting went well, and we had an opportunity to talk about the pavilion.
Mac, what's it like to finally get to announce the pavilion location, all the details about seating and all that? Because you've only been able to really talk about it in little bits and pieces for the last year or so.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like the project now is more of a reality than ever before. I'll be, probably most happy when we break ground and actually see the construction fences going up and all of that. But it's the last several days, and then tonight's city council vote They've been, just really, really important days in terms of this realization of the project and where it will be located, and we can now begin to look forward to working on some of the additional details that we need to work on, and constructing what I think will be one of the best venues in the entire country to watch college basketball. And I think we hit it out of the park with McClain Stadium, and we're hoping to do the same with the Foster Pavilion.
So, Maco, one note I saw, the largest economic development in Waco history, $700 million, and obviously Baylor and the city going in. Can you just describe kind of the decision process on the location itself? Because I know that was, a lot of talk over the last year was where would it actually be? How did you guys finally land on where you landed? And what was it about, the relationship with the city and being able to work with them that, kind of helped this process along?
Yeah, so there's Craig, I appreciate the question. There's a lot to that, and there were a lot of different factors that you obviously contemplate and vet, and obviously cost is one of them, and when you turn a facility from a basketball only venue to a multi-purpose venue, and you change location and that site location is a little bit more complicated. You don't own the land that you're going to build it on, right? Those additional costs. Does that make sense for you? And because of what the city is going to contribute, it certainly made sense for us. I think about just, the responsibility that Baylor has to the Waco community, in the city of Waco. And, can we partner and do that where, we're not compromising anything, when we think about our basketball programs and what's best for our student athletes first and foremost, and our coaches. And still have this partnership and do something that, or be part of something. You talked about the economic development when this process is completed, not just the pavilion, but the other pieces of the riverfront. But so you think about just the benefit that is for the Waco community, and I think Baylor, we have a responsibility for that as well, and the city's been a great partner in terms of those discussions and conversations, and you think about this meshing of Baylor and downtown, and I used the word earlier, vibrancy, and creating an area that's adjacent to campus or an extension of campus now, that's really vibrant, is going to be active with people. And I think when you're recruiting students, and when you're recruiting student athletes, that plays a factor. Certainly talk to our head coaches about that. So those are all things that you think about. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion about or conversation about safety of going from Baylor campus and I-35, and obviously we wouldn't have considered a project. I think this institution has done an unbelievable job long before all of us have been here, but they've always done an unbelievable job in terms of the safety and of our students, and so we feel really, really good about that, and people actually getting to our students getting to the pavilion, and I think you all know that where our residence halls are on campus, it's actually closer to that location than it is to the Farrell Center parking lot. So just a lot of careful thought. Can we accommodate parking? Can we accommodate ingress, egress? And I think there's a lot of different approaches that you'll be able to take to the venue, not just off of I-35, but you can get to it, other ways. And, we feel really confident in terms of the parking with the multiple parking garages and some of the city street parking and surface parking, and think we'll have as much or more parking available than if we were to build it in the Farrell Center site. So all of those things are certainly part of the consideration, and I think we're headed in a good place.
You came up with a specific capacity like 7,500. I know that had to be a number that bounced back and forth. The basketball attendance around the country has been in a decline for quite some time. You have this national championship program, yet again, you rarely win over 10,000 inside the Farrell Center. How much of a leeway of that number did you kind of bounce back and forth to make it comfortable where you felt like it was always going to be filled?
Yeah, I mean, the number was, the number of 6,000 was talked about frequently, and you think about Gonzaga, Baylor feels like we've swapped, in terms of that number one spot over the last couple years, 3 years, and and I think their venue is in the fives, and so we had a lot of discussion. I mean, quite frankly, the six, just gut feel for me seemed a little bit small. We talked, as high as probably 8,000, and had a lot of conversation about fixed seats and standing room only. And I think we landed in a great place when you think about home court advantage. And look, we've talked about it. Big 12 coaches voting, about the hardest places to play in the Big 12 and ranking Farrell Center ninth. And, you mentioned it. It's a great home court advantage when we fill it up. But unfortunately, we don't do that every game. And when you think about your season ticket base, and certainly a good percentage in Waco, but also a good percentage, in the Metroplex area and in Austin and in Houston. And so weekday games are tougher, harder for some. And so, trying to create this sustainability of having a capacity, crowd, all, 18 home games versus 3 or 4, and really, creating this phenomena of this is the place to be. And we can't wait, until game day to go purchase a ticket. And this is going to be, a venue that has unbelievable energy and just a great place to be, and provide a great home court advantage for both our men's and women's teams.
Mac Rhodes, Baylor Director of Athletics, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Last time you were with us, you mentioned that there had been discussions and details had been agreed to involving Dave Aranda and a contract moving forward. Has that changed much at all? Is the ink wet, dry, or still not on the paper?
Yeah, we're still working through some of the details, and everything is good, great. It just takes some time to take it from a spreadsheet term sheet into language. I mean, that's the essence of contract work when you think about head coach contracts, and so it's just we're in that process, but all is in great shape, and it's a matter of when we can just finally complete that process.
I know sometimes you have to go through some human resources on hiring. I know it's not official, but what did you think about China Spring and Brian Bell winning a state championship in football?
I thought that Coach Bell winning the state championship was awesome. Loved it. So happy for him. I know that his brother was really, and so was Dad. But seriously, what a great family. Number one, just a wonderful family, and happy for all of them really winning a state championship, and happy for Brian. And I'll say this: I think there'll be a day soon when he'll be a Baylor family member.
There you go. So, yeah. I thought I could position it the way I did.
No, and we look that we're I know Coach Aranda, and I'm certainly speaking on behalf of Coach Aranda, but there are no favors there, and there'll be a time when Coach joins, Coach Joe, the other Coach Bell joins our staff, and it's because he'll be an unbelievable addition to our staff.
Mac, I did want to ask you about the stadium. How important was location close to our studio? Because clearly you did. That was we're very thrilled about that. It's very close to where we are.
Yeah, it was certainly on the list. Maybe just right outside the top 10. But it was no doubt on the list. Always trying to accommodate the three of you.
Is Baylor going to build an Humphrey Bridge too, so we can just walk straight from here, right across the Brazos to the Pavilion?
Yeah, well, on the fine print, we felt like we'd leave that to you all to figure out.
Yeah, okay.
That's a bridge or a pontoon boat that you're up the river on.
Mac, there's so much good stuff going on, and I'll end on a good note ultimately, but to bring the mood down a little bit right now, there is this COVID issue popping up again. Not that it's ever really gone away, but your women's basketball team just had a game canceled because the opponent is dealing with it, and we've seen cancellations all across pro and college sports. It's not new. We went through this, last couple of years, but from your end and your standpoint, has anything really changed? Like, kind of how are you dealing with, as an athletic department, all of the twists and turns that can come with COVID once again?
Yeah, so I appreciate the question. Today the Big 12 athletic directors met, and I'll tell you that, this is probably the first time that we really talk about COVID protocol in, well, I'm not going to say in a while, because that sounds like 6 months, but certainly in the last couple months. And so what that tells you is we're right in the middle of it, and it's the reality, and we're beginning to have conversations about forfeiture versus cancellation and minimum threshold, and what is it gonna what's it going to be required to play a game versus cancel a game. And so, unfortunately, it gives you a sick stomach, because those are the conversations that you had, a year ago. We're talking about, reality of going to New Orleans with a football team, and are there extra precautions that we're going to take? And so those conversations are extremely active right now as we speak. But again, glass half full. In trying to glass half full is, I don't think it's a matter of if, but when, COVID, becomes even a larger impact in college athletics here in the next, couple weeks to 4 weeks. You're seeing it across the country. You're seeing it in the NFL, and so, but the good news is look, we've experienced it. We've dealt with it before, and so we'll be prepared to mitigate and manage as best we can.
Last thing, Mac, and I appreciate your time, and we do a little bit later, that you have 2 assistant coaches from the athletic department now running Power 5 programs within the conference, with Jason Williams now doing the head coaching job at TCU from your staff, and then also with Joey McGuire at Texas Tech. What does that say about Baylor athletics?
You know, Smoak, I appreciate you asking that question. I really do, because I think that's it's a testament to the kind of people we have, and you know, we're having this success that we're having, and I know it sounds like a broken record. We're having the success that we're having because of the people, and you know, to take that even one step further. Those 2 assistants, and so happy for Jason, well deserved. And obviously I'm not leaving out Joey, but we talked about Joey 3 or 4 weeks ago, and certainly happy for him. But, you know, to even think about, those are 2 rivals with your own conference that hired Baylor assistant coaches, you know, Power 5 to be Power 5 head coaches. So again, it's just, you know, it's a testament to the great people we have. You know, it's a testament to Dave Aranda and to Ryan McGuire, and again, excited for both of them to have that opportunity. And you know, I'd prefer it would have been in other leagues, quite frankly. But that's part of it when you have great people and you want them to move on and to grow. It's hard to say that you can't do that within your own conference.
Mac, I think we're going to talk to you probably later in the week, next week potentially, but just in case, I mean, looking at the year 2021 in Baylor athletics and all that has gone on, I mean, from a men's national title, being the headliner, football winning a Big 12 championship, various other championships won by other sports as well. You've got now the location and the plans locked down for the Foster Pavilion and the football facility, and there's the Welcome Center that's being built on campus right now. The NCAA investigation came to an end. A&T national champs once again. You hired Nikki Collin. You hired a new soccer coach. I mean, and I could go on. I mean, start talking about All-Americans and all of that, but just when you think about 2021 and try to wrap your head around what's obviously been a banner year for Baylor, just what's it been like when you hear just a smidgen of the stuff that's occurred in the last year alone?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I certainly, just to hear you say those things right now, I sit there and go, wow, that's pretty cool, because quite frankly, you know, I don't think any of us, I know I certainly don't take a whole lot of time to think about that stuff. And, you know, I always worry, and, you know, this is, you know, maybe this is just my paranoia, quite frankly, that, you know, if I'm spending time thinking about those things, then I'm not spending time thinking about moving forward and how do we get better and do things better and, you know, still compete at the highest level. And so, it has been a phenomenal year. We haven't released it yet, but this fall semester academically, we had every single one of our sports programs with a 3.0 or above. Never been done in the history of Baylor. Our football team had a cum GPA of 3.04, the first time ever over a 3.0. Women's basketball, 3.06, first time ever over 3.0. Men's basketball, 3.14, first time ever over a 3.0. And I can go on and on about all of our other sports and what our student athletes did this fall semester. And so it continues, and you know, that's the metaphor, the analogy of, you know, you get over the high bar. What do? You raise it, and then you fight, scratch, claw, work hard to get over that new height, and you continue to do that. And so, that's what we're trying to do. I think our biggest challenge, quite frankly, is to remain humble, to know and understand always for His glory, and for us to keep our edge. And I'll say this, I know that 2021 has been a really a good year for Baylor athletics, and again because of our people. But I still believe our best days are ahead, and I'll continue to always believe that.
Mac, thank you. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you in New Orleans. Sugar Bowl coming up, and I hope everything between now and then stays great and safe. See you. Have a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and happy rest of the week. And thank you again for your time.
Hey, just know that we're implementing bed checks for the radio crew as well. So,
you hear that, Paul?
Oh dear,
you hear that, Paul?
Listen, Q's not my roommate this time around, so I think I'll be a little bit better off. So
yeah, sure you will. Thank you, Mac. Merry Christmas, Mac Rhodes.
See you and Baylor family. Bye-bye.
You too. So he did confirm, again, they have to go through the human resources protocol paperwork. Brian Bell, I think it's safe to say Brian Bell will soon be a part of the Baylor football family. One hell of a coach, one comes from a great family. And then on the Dave Aranda, all of the things, the spreadsheet, the details, all of the numbers have been worked out. It's just a matter, it still takes time to put it in writing and then have it with wet ink and then dry ink, but that's just more just a week later from what he told us last week.
Dave Aranda is the head coach of Baylor. He's going to be the head coach of Baylor, and there was a time during the carousel we kind of wondered with job after job after job after job, and I could say that 10 more times and not even fill all the jobs that opened up. But when all of that was happening, not just the fact that jobs were opening up, because obviously 90% of them he's not going to be interested in, but the number of big schools that were up for grabs. He was thrown around in a lot of those conversations, whether, there was ever anything to it or not. And we know in some cases there was not. There was literally just a reporter going, hey, how about this guy for this job? This would make sense. He's from here, even though, Oregon and Southern California are not the same thing or place. But, he's going to be around, and look forward to seeing what the final details are as much as we can for a private school with that contract, because we're not going to get it like like a records request at a public university. But, I got a couple other college football notes I want to squeeze in at some point as far as the transfer portal goes.
Do them now because we have John McClain and then top five.
But I wanted to go back over what I just said to Mac. The NCAA investigation that lasted for 5 years finally came to an end. They've got the Welcome Center that's going to be right there on the forefront of campus that's broken ground and is just, creating more chaos around campus, but for the good ultimately. They hired a new women's basketball coach, ending an era. They hired a new soccer coach, ending another era. They Big 12 title in football, various other Big 12 titles, national championship in A&T, and obviously men's basketball. You had the men's tennis team that played for a couple national titles, both indoor and outdoor over the last year. Just All-Americans. Just crazy. What a year. What a dadgum year it's been, and all the things that have either come to a close or are beginning anew. It's pretty crazy that we're at the end of 2021, but man, what a ride it's been for Baylor athletics, certainly. All right, so a couple of notes that are of interest from the transfer portal. Kedon Slovis, former USC quarterback, he has announced his destination. This will make at least one of our listeners I know very happy, but he's headed to Pitt. He's going to go pick up where Kenny Pickett left off, I guess, and he saw something that he liked in what the Panthers were doing. And so Kedon Slovis, who I know had a great relationship with Graham Harrell out there at USC, but obviously that's changing over to the Lincoln Riley regime. So Slovis on his way out, and he's going to be playing for Pitt.
His girlfriend is a soccer player at Pitt.
There you go.
The Adrian Martinez to Kansas State connection.
So Kenny Pickett, actually, you were not a factor at all. It's the girl. No, I'm sure seeing Kenny Pickett have success though didn't hurt at all. Kedon Slovis to Pitt. Also, another very interesting transfer portal addition. UTEP wide receiver Jacob Cowing has entered his name into the transfer portal. A lot of people aren't going to know who Jacob Cowing is because I know not a lot of people follow UTEP football, but doing the Earl Campbell, Tyler Rose Award stuff, he was right there. Semifinalist, had a monster year for the Miners, and had 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. But over the course of his career, he's got well over 2,000 yards. So he'll be an interesting addition. Not a big guy, just 5'11", 170, but an Arizona native, so maybe that comes into play. I don't know, but very good player. So I'm curious. I definitely think he will take a step up. But that's one to keep an eye on is Jacob Cowing. And then also there was this multiple sources, and I don't know now where I got this from, but it's out there. It might have been Feldman or somebody, but multiple sources confirmed Georgia quarterback JT Daniels tested positive for COVID-19 and has entered quarantine ahead of UGA's semifinal with Michigan. Other members of the UGA quarterback room are in close contact protocol but have continued to test negative so far, and they will continue daily testing. But that's obviously, obviously very notable with the semifinals right around the corner.
Desmond Jackson, Oklahoma State running back, has entered the transfer portal. And also, finally, one more, Georgia Tech running back Jahmyr Gibbs, pretty good player, transfers to Alabama,
where he'll start next year right away. That's a big – he was one of the top 5 players in the portal, and now he's going to Alabama. He and Eli Ricks alone. I mean, they wouldn't have to do anything else. It's unbelievable.
When we come back, we will hear from John McClain, Hall of Fame writer. John McClain, Sikkim 365 Radio, and 365 Sports is next. All right, so you're trying to run around and get the last-minute stocking stuffer, or maybe a gift that somebody that smokes cigars has asked about, or maybe put on their list. I recommend Don's Humidor and Coffee Beans in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco. I tell you what, if you have somebody who smokes cigars and they've told you what brands or flavor they like, Ashton, Macanudo, Padron, Cohiba, Rocky Patel, Artua Fuente, those names of great cigars, and there's dozens of them, inside the 48-foot walk-in humidor. A box of those cigars, which could be, hey, it's going to cost you a little bit, but what a great gift for somebody that you like that smokes cigars. And or you just go in there and let Cheyenne, or Ashley and also Carol pick out specific, maybe 3 or 4 of those cigars and put them in a sleeve. Put them in the stocking stuffer with a box of matches and even, something else like CBD product, Vita Dreams, to allow people to have a little bit more rest because you fall asleep a little bit quicker and more at ease. All of that could be a stocking stuffer. It could be a gift for a box of cigars or a humidor to put them in. Don's Humidor and Coffee Beans on the Townwest Shopping Center, Valley Mills in Waco.
It's Baylor football season, and as always, Berg Colgin Ford supports the green and gold. Hi, I'm Mark Stewart with Berg Colgin Ford. It's time for team celebrations and BU touchdowns. Berg Colgin Ford is your home team when it comes to trucks and tailgates. Ford has the perfect truck for you to host a top-ranked tailgate party. Here's to a winning season for our hometown Bears. Visit us anytime at bkford.com. Buying made simple at BK Ford. Sick 'em Bears.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McClain County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You know what would make this moment better? Pizza. Dough made from scratch and an Italian family sauce recipe pizza. 3 fresh signature cheeses making a melty blanket of perfection pizza. Like loads of premium toppings like crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, and fresh sliced veggies pizza. That's Marco's Pizza. Visit marcos.com and make any moment better. And with 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, here we go. John McClain, Hall of Fame writer, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I've had this to ask you for weeks from somebody that listens to our show at Bird's Word. Can you please introduce John McClain as in from the ventilation shaft in Nakatomi Tower?
Nakatomi
Tower. How many times have you been thought of as the guy that's a part of Die Hard?
Let's see, 14,792 as of this past weekend's trip to Jacksonville. When when I check into hotels and they see my credit card, they'll bring it up and say, "Have you ever been asked about that?" I said, "Nope, you're the first one."
John, I'd like to point out that me, the movie buff of the 3 of us, who is doing a top 5 that's Die Hard related later in the show, right after we're done with you, I have never done that to you in the 15 years we've been on the radio together, because I know that well before you were on the radio with me, somebody had to ask you about that.
Well, yippee-ki-yay.
There you go.
I'll tell you an interesting, that movie came out in 88. Yes, it's a Christmas movie. The whole thing's about Christmas. So the Oilers had training camp in San Marcos, and Jerry Glanville was the head coach. And so he gave the players off on a Saturday night. So the next time we were able to talk to him was Sunday after practice. And somebody asked him if he did anything on Saturday night, considering he gave the players off. And he said, "I did." He said, "What'd you do?" He said, "Went to dinner and went to see a movie." "What'd you see?" And he got quiet. Glanville was so funny. He said, "I saw something I thought I would never see." And everybody leaned in. What? A John McClain with guts.
Oh, God. Oh, my Lord.
John, you mentioned that you were just in Jacksonville. Was the entire sky covered in smoke from the dumpster fire, or just, how much uglier can it get down in Jayville right now?
It was like a black cloud had been lifted from Jacksonville, Craig. People are so happy, like ding dong, the Wicked Witch is dead. Urban Meyer cast such a pall over that organization, and the city with one screw up after another in his constant lies. They said he would lie when he knew they knew he was lying, and he did it anyway. So now he's trying to clean up his reputation, doing a long interview with NFL Network over the weekend, but they don't know who the next coach will be. They've been so conditioned to losing over there. In the last 11 drafts, they've had 10 picks in the first 10. Only one still with the team. Outside linebacker Josh Allen from 2 years ago. A lot of them are still in the NFL. It wasn't they were bad draft picks. They couldn't either coach them or hang on to them. So they've had one winning record since 2007. I tell Texans fans they're having their second losing season in a row after winning 4 out of 5 division titles. I say, you guys don't know how to suffer. They know how to suffer in Jacksonville and Detroit. Detroit has one playoff victory since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
That's
I mean, yeah,
right.
Detroit, you almost just forget they even exist at times. I mean, honestly, they've been so down the dumps. So, John,
unless you're Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. John, if you were, and I know we probably don't want to spend too much time on a team like the Jaguars, but if you were the Jaguars and you're not the Khan family, you're somebody who could just come in, because clearly the Khan family is part of the problem, what would you do to try and fix this? Do they need like a real GM? Like, what head coach would you, like, how would you fix that situation?
They need to get a real GM, and they need to get a GM and let him hire the head coach and stay out of it. Yeah. And Shad Khan, the owner, everybody likes him. He spends money. He just had one winning season in his 10 years as an owner, and he'll spend it. So he did the whole Urban Meyer thing on his own. And so now he needs to make sure he gets a good personnel man who has the kind of personality it's going to take to go in there and be a pincushion, because you're going to get a lot of blame. That's what they did here with Nick Caserio, who I think is doing a really good job as a personnel man. He had 5 draft choices, none in the first 2 rounds. These guys have all flashed talent. They're really happy with them. He signed a couple of guys that have on 1-year deals that deserve new ones. And then they have 9 picks in the next draft, including their first 2. And, of course, they should have more for Deshaun Watson. And I think they should trade their left tackle, Laramie Tunsil, for whatever they can get. And then next year they would be a lot younger. But they got to get a guy like that who's been with a team that's been successful, has played a key role in that success. Give him a good contract. Tell him this is your baby. And the Texans made it clear to everybody, you know, we're not just remodeling. We are rebuilding from the ground up.
John, I always depend on you when I see anything come out of Houston. There's a couple of others that do TV in there that I know, that I trust in what they say. But did I see something flash across my timeline about Nick Caserio and in contact with David Culley, like in game? What's the story there?
Well, I've been writing about that since the off season. That's not new. I don't know why it's all of a sudden getting attention. When Caserio was in New England, he was in the press box. He'd wear headphones to communicate with Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator. So he's done that here. And David Culley, who has final say on everything that happens in a game, he can communicate with any coach, plus Caserio, plus longtime coach Romeo Crennel, who is a senior advisor. And they meet, as every team does, to go over every kind of clock management situation. And Culley has been very honest about it. When he's made mistakes this year, he said, hey, I blew it. I'm learning. I won't make that mistake again. And then he had a great game against the Jaguars. And so people asked him about it. And he mentioned, that he relies on people like Caserio and Romeo Crennel. And then all of a sudden, people that just blew up. Maybe to some of the people that cover the team that are clueless, it was a big deal to them, but it certainly wasn't to the Chronicle.
John, do you think that Urban Meyer's spectacular failure in Jacksonville will discourage college coaching hires in the next couple of years, because the NFL kind of copycats hirings and firings as well?
Paul, I believe this. What if Matt Campbell from Iowa State, who everybody thinks would make a top NFL coach, what if Matt Campbell announced tomorrow, I would like to coach in the NFL, do you think people would back away for Urban Meyer because of Meyer? No. I think people know how Meyer was. His ego was through the roof and the clouds, and I think that other coaches should not be penalized because of that. So, no, I don't think it'll change. Maybe there's some go like the Jaguars. I ain't never hired a college coach anymore, although they hired Tom Coughlin from Boston College. Now, he'd been in the NFL, but he was the best coach in franchise history. And there's some college coaches like Pete Carroll, who's fired by 2 or 3 NFL teams, goes to USC, wins big, and then the Seahawks hire him in 2010, and he's about to have his second losing season since 2011. So, and then, of course, Jimmy Johnson. But I think a lot of them just aren't cut out for it, and you should have an idea about that before you reward them with, 5-year contracts worth $9 million a year.
So, John, a doubleheader last night. Here in about 10 minutes, actually, we'll have another doubleheader kicking off, Washington, Philly, and Seattle, L.A. Obviously, COVID's become a big story once again. Was just reading about the Chiefs, and like half their stars are in protocol right now. How do you think the NFL has responded to this recent surge and kind of a return to what we knew the last couple seasons?
I think they've done exactly like last year. They got in all the games. They'll get in all the games this year. They're doing a tremendous job. That's why you have 16-player practice squads. I feel bad for teams that lose their kickers at the last minute. You can lose a head coach and have a coordinator call the plays. With technology as it is, they should let the coach stay home, get on the big screen TV, and coach, make calls from there. I don't know why they won't do that. And as long as you got your quarterback, you're in good enough shape. But I felt terrible for the Browns last night to lose on a field goal as time expired when the Raiders, I don't think, had one positive test, but were penalized moving to Tuesday. So I'm glad they won. And because they've been very fortunate and lucky as well. Texans just put their 15th person on it, but they're the Texans and nobody cares.
John, last thing. Last Friday, you spoke, you, David Barron, among some others, but you spoke at the Dave Campbell funeral. We know how much he meant to you and millions, perhaps. Was that one of the more, not nerve-wracking, but was that, what did that mean to you, to be someone who could speak on his behalf?
Well, I was honored. There were only 2 of us that weren't a family that spoke, and when one of his 2 daughters, Becky, told me, she said, I remember when Dad invited you to speak at his retirement party, and you were real funny. And we're doing a celebration here. I said, in other words, you want me to tell some funny stories? She said, please. And I was happy to do that because when you're telling funny stories, you're not going to get choked up. And I didn't get choked up till the end because Dave was a World War II hero with a Bronze Star. And when they had the casket draped in the flag, and then when they played taps always gets me. And then it was so quiet, and the 2 soldiers folded the flag perfectly and gave it to the family. You could hear a lot of sniffing going on. And I was so happy to see Ethel Biddle, Hollis Biddle's wife. Ethel's 92. She was there with her son, Robert Bradley, and she was there every step of the way from Texas Football Magazine, which Dave and Hollis and the late Jim Montgomery put together in 1960. And she was a big part of those 2 families. And I've always respected her because Dave and Hollis spent more time than they did with Reba and Ethel way back then when they're putting out a paper plus putting out multiple magazines. And it was great to see a lot of people. David Dixon, a very respected attorney there who I went to elementary school with, see him and Drake McClain and Grant Taft. And I'm sorry Dave's death brought us together, but we were there to celebrate a life of a journalist like no other. And as I said, and I know so many people listening will agree, if you were fortunate enough to grow up in Waco or Central Texas and you got to read Dave Campbell and listen to Frank Fallon, it's like reading the words of God and listening to the voice of God. And sports there will never be the same.
John, thank you. You were amazing. You did an
Thank you,
incredible
David.
job.
Thank you. Thank you, and sick 'em, guys.
You too, and have Merry Christmas. John McClain, Houston Chronicle. When we come back, Paul Catalina's Top 5, Sick'em 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio with socially distanced seating for your enjoyment. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log into BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICK'em125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'em200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'em125 and SICK'em200.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Payments for qualified buyers at 2.9% with $5,000 down cash for trade. TTNL Extra. See deal for details.
Get the quality pre-owned car you need now at a price you can afford at Richard Car. Find great deals like a 7-passenger 2016 GMC Acadia for $225 a month, a 2019 Ford F-150 for $438 a month. Plus, get top dollar for your trade now. Richard Car. Pre-owned vehicles go through a 172-point inspection, and our aggressive lenders say yes when others say no. Find your next car or truck at Richard Car today.
At Richard Car, we give you more. Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Sick'em 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
You just heard John McClain say it, that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's his namesake, for crying out loud. But one Armstrong Sims certainly does not feel that way. So I'm going to give you top 5 reasons Die Hard is a Christmas movie. But Armstrong is going to tell us right now why he thinks it's not.
Right now?
Yeah, tell us right now. So then I'll give the top 5 reasons.
Okay, well, I can jump in on some of these reasons too.
Okay.
But the main thing is a Christmas movie requires your classic Christmas elements, or not all of them, obviously, but some of them. You need Santa. You need angels. You need something like that. You need something more than one Christmas tree at a Christmas party.
Okay, well then guess what? I'm gonna come at you with some of these.
Oh, and I've read yours and I have some thoughts about them. So.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do.
All right, look.
You're gonna go out today with a bang. This is fun.
It's set at a Christmas party. Number 5. It's set at a Christmas party. Everything going around is at the Christmas party. It's all about Christmas.
Okay. I would argue that if you changed it to a Halloween party, nothing would change.
That's
Everyone
true.
would just be in costumes.
But the fact remains that then it would be a Halloween movie, but it's a Christmas movie because it's at a Christmas party. All right. Okay, number 4. And this goes back to White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye right here. There are sad children at home who may not see mommy and daddy and need a Christmas miracle.
It is kind of a hallmark of Christmas movies, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know. I just think because it has the touchy-feeliness doesn't equal Christmas movie.
Okay. Well, listen, that's why there's 5 reasons and not just 2.
I mean, that one's a little loose. Yeah, I could see where Paul's coming from, but yeah, I could also see like 100 other TV shows or movies that have a similar dilemma as well. But yeah, that is kind of a weird theme now that I think about it for some Christmas movies.
Did the elevator have Christmas menus for the restaurant, and did anything else?
No, there's some other like things about it. We'll get
it was made in the 80s, so I don't know if they had like restaurant menus and elevators.
Is this just a Home Alone reference?
No, yeah. This other one? Number 3?
This specific one.
Number 3. Okay. There's a great line in the movie where Hans Gruber, when Theo, who's trying to break the vault, says, listen, I'm going to need a miracle. And he goes, it's Christmas, Theo. It's the time for miracles. Boom. There's your magical Christmas quote right there.
Oh, my gosh.
So. Did it work?
Yeah, they got in the vault.
With a bomb? Or
no, the LAPD cut the power and opened the vault.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so. LAPD screwed it up, huh?
Yeah. He goes down to Theo, goes, you asked for miracles, I give you the Los Angeles Police Department.
Driving in LA during the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Number 2, a Christmas present saves the day.
What was it?
A Christmas the 2 different. So Christmas wrapping paper, he puts the wrapping paper on his back and tapes the gun. He has 1 bullet left in it. He puts it there. And her Christmas bonus, the watch, is when he shoots Hans, she falls, he grabs the watch, and then he unhooks the watch and Hans Gruber falls to his death.
Yeah.
A Christmas present saves the day.
You know what, Armstrong? You have to win the 5th one. You're two and right now, if it was a boxing match, it's 2-2. This is the round that decides a win or a loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
And number 1, the entire plot of the movie circulates around getting people home for Christmas. Not just the McClain family, but everyone who's captured inside Nakatomi Plaza. And for the most part, he does a good job. They only lost the CEO and the cokehead and Ellis. That was it. So his batting average was actually fantastic. Oh, and the FBI agents, but that was their fault.
I would argue again, like I said for the 5th one, that take Christmas out of it. They just want to get out of there.
Yeah,
they just want to get home. They don't specifically want to get home for Christmas.
But that day they do.
I don't think. I think if you move it, I think on Christmas movies, if you move it out of Christmas, and the plot is the exact same, then it's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Christmas needs to play a central part of the role. Yeah. And you could describe the plot of Die Hard without mentioning Christmas.
Rich Boone. Okay, we have to, I know we're running late. The text line. Rich Boone was never a fan of Die Hard as a Christmas movie. From Chris, it's not a Christmas party until a secretary Xeroxes copies of the backside. Die Hard 2 had snow at least.
It used to be different,
Yeah,
didn't
no
it?
snow.
Life
No
used
snow.
to be real different.
Yeah.
It was all Xerox butt pictures.
By the way,
Rich Boone. So Reindeer Games is a Christmas movie.
yeah, sure, I'll take it. It's
There's
a bad
reindeer.
one. It's a bad one.
Here's XOM Hood. So far, Paul has lost all.
No. Listen, Chris has the gun a Christmas present. The gun is not the Christmas present.
I didn't give a rebuttal on that.
This is not a Christmas movie. Paul, this is not good for you. If it were a New Year's party, same movie.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good point that Armstrong brought up, but there's always going to be the side. I mean, Paul's got points too, so I mean, that's why it's always been a debate is whether or not Die Hard's a Christmas movie, and you fall into one of two categories.
They're all not Miracle on 34th Street.
What was the one about getting home? 3 or 4?
1.
Chris, wouldn't they have skipped the party if they were wanting to get home?
Well, no. Hold on. That's semantics right there. They went to the party thinking nothing bad was going to happen, and then Hans Gruber and the guys get there. They thought they're going to be home at 9 o'clock, and then all of a sudden they're stranded there. So they want to get home for Christmas.
So in other words, no one wins. It's still going to be an argument forever and ever and ever. Amen. Cam Martin, remember the great Cam Martin? Port Arthur Memorial, who went to Auburn after signing with Baylor. He just checked in. He goes, hey, I watch you guys worldwide all the time. He's now a coach at UCF.
Oh,
hey,
awesome.
what's up,
Great
Cam?
to hear from Cam Martin. We love Cam Martin. Miss not being able to cover him.
Yeah, I wish we could have followed your career at Baylor, but no, you did your thing at Auburn, and congrats on a solid career, and congrats on being in coaching, man. And hopefully we'll run into you. It's crazy how this business works, so I'm sure we will at some point. Also wanted to say in regards to Die Hard, rest in peace, Alan Rickman. Man, what an incredible freaking actor. And I see Die Hard and I'm like, Alan Rickman, he's awesome. But yeah, shout out to Cam Martin. What's up, man?
And he's UCF, but eventually a part of the Big 12.
Yeah, we'll see you in the Big 12. That's
also, he says ho 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 in the movie.
Now is he talking about Christmas?
Now I have a machine gun. Ho,
or was that part of his wish list?
Yes.
Armstrong Sims back at it tomorrow at 3 o'clock here on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. For Craig Smoak, for Paul Catalina. We continue another day since April 6, 2020. Thank you so much who watch, listen, and our amazing sponsors. Have a great night.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McClain County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.